It's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
All right, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio on a Tuesday, April 1st. Don't do it, people. Don't. You're old enough. Get past it. As we say, hi, Dustin Swedelson, live from the SiriusXM studios at the Wynn in Las Vegas. I'm Patrick Meagher, live from Los Angeles. Nia Hardman, New York City. Ryan Smith in Vegas running YouTube. You can find us at VSiN Live on YouTube. Remember, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Let's get into the algorithm as we say hi and welcome you into the program. Got a big show coming up today. We'll get to the breaking news as far as college hoops, get you set up for the Final Four, have those numbers adjusted. We will tell you Mike Randall, who is one of the best to do it, college hoops, is going to join us in 28 minutes. Steuart Durst with some props in the NBA and Major League Baseball, and he's back. Part of the family, Mike Somich, is going to be joining, professional handicapper, VSiN host, and overall just tremendous guy. So looking forward to talking to him. So it looks like Buzz Williams is leaving Texas A&M for Maryland. So Maryland losing Kevin Willard to Villanova and then gaining Buzz Williams is like getting a sandwich with rye bread and then one with wheat bread, because that is really what it costs. Like, who cares? Like, okay, we've got Buzz Williams for 3 years. We're gonna defend hard. We're gonna make the tournament and get bounced in the round of 32. Good job. And then he is going to tell his agent, I want to make some more money. And so the agent's going to say, all right, let's flip this and we'll go to Tennessee. And that's Buzz Williams for you. Now, Kevin Lillard is up in Villanova, and Villanova is going to rue the day. The idea that people keep telling me that they got a good coach is hilarious. You're at Seton Hall for 11 years, and you don't get out of the round of 32, and then you go to the round of 16 in the DMV, which should be simple. By the way, Buzz Williams doesn't get to a Final Four in College Park. He's just a bad coach. Like, you should be able to put a fence around the DMV. Recruit. They make documentaries about that area, people. You should be able to. Gary Williams did it. You should be able to win in the DMV. So I guess Buzz Williams, I don't know what's happened. This is really just indicative of the idea that we just never know what's happening institutionally within a program. Because why would you leave A&M, where they're just flush with money, to go to a dramatic situation that doesn't have an AD in Maryland? Because that's exactly what it is right now. Willard weaseled his way up to Villanova. Now, we're still trying to figure out, Steve Torrey and Lauren Torrey, his beautiful wife, are trying to get a hold of Kevin Willard's wife to see if she needs a ride, because we don't know if Kevin has let his wife know that he's taken the Villanova job as well. Now, we're still waiting to find out if Willard let his wife know that he took the Maryland job, because remember, when he was leaving Seton Hall, he said, I haven't talked to my wife yet. So we don't know if she ever made the trip from Seton Hall, Jersey, down to Maryland. And then, of course, I think it looks like Chris Beard. So, again, who freaking cares? But it looks like he might leave Ole Miss to go to Texas A&M. So he'll get bounced in the round of 32 as well. We say hi. I'm not even in a bad mood. I just, like, here's the thing. And I know I sound ornery. It's not about this concept that these guys are bad coaches. They're fine. They're not special. But it's that the kids take so much heat, right? Like, for example, the Crab Five at Maryland. So Gillespie and Rodney Rice, who are reliable scorers, they're going to transfer. So this is the domino effect of Kevin the Weasel Willard. Reese and Miguel, they're out of eligibility, and Derek Queen's going to be a lottery pick. So this tremendous run that should have been something for Maryland, a proud basketball school, turned into the Willard show. And it's all over. They've got nothing left. Buzz Williams is going to come in and create zippy buzz. They're going to defend their asses off and have fun with that. As we bring in the big guy, anything else on the coaching carousel, college basketball-wise?
Okay, so first off, when it comes to Buzz Williams, it's actually brilliant life strategy. You never stay anywhere long enough for them to realize you're not that good at your job, so you can't get fired. So you leave before they could fire you. I think it's bold. I think it's smart. But while we're not excited about it, I understand. It's not excited Buzz Williams. We've seen what he's done for a long time now. The reality is Maryland is better today than they were under Kevin Willard for the last 3 years. Do you believe that's a fair statement?
Yeah. I think it's a slight upgrade over Willard. I don't really know much about him in game, except that I definitely know Buzz can't run an offense.
No, he doesn't do offense at all. But another aspect here, Kevin Willard showing his colors on the way out. The way he handled the media, the way he dealt with the kids, not going to that meal with them, the way that he was disrespectful to everyone when we all saw what was happening in front of our eyes. And then you get a guy in Buzz Williams in there. And I'm thinking about, for Maryland, the face of your program now going forward, how do you think those players at Maryland felt about Willard on the way out versus how the Texas A&M players felt about Buzz Williams while they were playing there? Well, I don't have to do much thinking, because when they were knocked out, one of their players, Manny Obiaski, met with the media post-game presser and had this to say about Buzz Williams, if you want to get a vibe for how players feel about playing for Buzz.
That man right there next to Wade, one of the greatest people you will ever meet. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time in basketball in general. And he's changed my life. He's changed each and every one of our lives. And I'm so thankful for him. Coach Buzz, you mean everything to me. I love you. No matter what, I know you're going to be one call away, one text away. And no matter what anybody says, he's one of the greatest. And y'all can't change that. And nobody will change that or take that from him. Thank you.
So that's what Obiaski had to say after their season ended. And the reason I wanted to play it was just think about the lasting impression of Willard in College Park. We have all the drama surrounding him taking this job a freaking month ago. And then we have the last minute buzzer beater where he's letting Queen decide to take the final shot instead of being a coach there. I'm just curious how you think the vibes were in that locker room then versus what they could potentially be getting now in Buzz Williams, who seems like a player's coach.
The empty locker room at Maryland, because no coach, no players are left.
But
so maybe if he brings the dude I never heard of, you just played the clip. If he brings him with him, it's going to be lit. I know that.
But it's more what your program is now, because Willard on the way out was crapping all over the program, saying we don't have money to stay in New York City, that he was fighting with the administrators. This was going on for a while publicly. The point is, the vibes around your program with a guy like Buzz Williams is significantly better today than it was for the last month under Kevin Willard, despite being in the NCAA tournament.
I give you props. You're a big Buzz guy. Buzz had success at Marquette. Not much at Vatech and not much at round of 32, the last 2 years at A&M, which is fine. But I didn't realize you were such a Buzz guy. Good for you.
I don't know what it says that I'm excited about it or that I'm defending it, but
you're definitely not excited about it. You're doing a 3-hour radio show. There is no excitement within your soul about Buzz Williams getting hired at Maryland. You couldn't care about Maryland basketball if it jumped up your ass.
But the reality is Willard put them in a tough spot. The timing of this was obviously not optimal, right? Like at this point, all of the quote unquote up and coming coaches, those next geniuses, the McCaslins down at Texas Tech, similar to Florida going and getting Golden from San Francisco, those guys have jobs already. They've already jumped the ship. McCollum, went to Iowa. DeVries went from West Virginia to Indiana. You're not gonna be able to find those guys. I think based on the circumstance of how this went down, how it played out, with them being in the tournament, having to replace a coach that won a game in the NCAA tournament, this is a B+ hire for Buzz Williams. I think they did a solid job.
Okay, yeah, I listen. He was at Virginia Tech for 5 seasons. He was at A&M for 5-6 seasons, something like that. Same with Marquette. So he has a track record of following the money. Listen, I agree with you. I think Buzz Williams over Kevin Willard is a bit of an upgrade. Willard had kind of a resume because his dad was a good coach as well. Willard just really hasn't done anything. So Buzz has done something. What I would say is if you're Maryland and you're completely hitting the reset button, because that's exactly what they're doing with an AD. That's exactly what they're doing with the program, with the Crab Five leaving. Like the Simpkins kid at AU that has a connection, I would have probably gone for higher ceiling, but it's a safe hire and it's a good hire with Buzz Williams.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, because that's like the long-term play. That's the guy who's going to build the program, get you back like locally, the stature that you need to consistently win. But it's so instant gratification. Buzz Williams going to hit the ground running. He makes the tournament. But you're right, there's definitely a ceiling to his teams. I just think sometimes we think just because someone has association with a program, they should get hired. And then I start thinking about, you mentioned Chris Mullen yesterday. You think about Patrick Ewing at Georgetown. like sometimes it gets really ugly in
Fair.
those scenarios too, because those guys are living off their name going back. Now, those are also two pro basketball Hall of Famers where Simpkins isn't exactly on that level.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think with Simpkins or specifically Maryland, I think there is a familial aspect in a little bit of a different vibe in the DMV, as you know, kind of living over there. The AAU circuit is very insular. Everybody knows everybody, so I think Simpkins probably could have recruited his ass off within it. Buzz will be fine. He will be fine. He'll get him to the round of 32, and they'll throw a party at College Park.
Yeah, and for Buzz Williams, it was a no-brainer. It was leave before you get fired, take over a program that was also just in the tournament, so you know it can clearly be done there. You get to leave the SEC, where you're going to be second fiddle to Texas. And remember, when he went to A&M, Texas wasn't in the SEC yet. It's difficult to recruit up against them, so you leave that behind. And then you go to, as you mentioned, the DMV, where there's just players everywhere up and down the road. You don't have to go very far to rebuild this roster.
Yeah, I mean, the loser here is Villanova.
That's the right part.
Painting the picture that Buzz is an upgrade really points to the fact that Willard and Villanova, the losers. That's really what it comes down to.
And they couldn't wait. They started dealing with him a month ago to try and steal him from Maryland.
It's called desperation. They were desperate.
It is.
They're so desperate. It's like if you have McCaslin out there, you had the Medved kid that almost beat Willard.
You know,
with less talent. You've got McCollum. You've got DeVries. Indiana was tripping over themselves to pay West Virginia a boatload of cash to get DeVries, as they should have been. Like, to me, those are the exciting hires, if I'm being fair.
I agree. It was those guys going from the smaller programs to the bigger ones. I'm not so sure the Medved hire isn't the best one that's flying completely under the radar. Watching that Colorado State team, like, they were not as talented, and they hung and won a tournament game there. They went toe-to-toe with Maryland and probably should have won. I know that still stings for you with that money line bet, but I'm not so sure that's not the best hire there. Like, the retread of Sean Miller going to Texas, sure, I understand why, but
we've seen that movie, bro. We've seen the Sean Miller show.
Yeah, I know.
That is such an uninspired hire for Texas. That's Sarkisian. Sarkisian and Miller are standing in the hallway pointing at each other. I mean, Sarkisian's done a nice job, to be fair. Sarkisian's done a nice job. Beard is going to get. I think Beard is going to flip Ole Miss to A&M. That's what I was reading today.
And that's weird, right? The SEC to SEC move is always odd to me. I don't know why. It's just like maybe it's perfect because it's just perfect because it's the SEC. It's the Southeast, and it feels incestual.
Yeah, it certainly does. Now, Beard did a great job at Texas Tech. So Buzz, yeah, I mean, really, it's fine. Maryland, at least there's, at least you got it done quickly because the transfer portal is open. I'm really trying to paint a rosy picture because I'm a Maryland backer at this point because of what Willard and his weasel ass did to the program.
Oh, yeah, that's a good element, too, is they're all of a sudden a sympathetic figure. You're looking at Maryland like, man, you got done dirty. And maybe that's playing a role in this, why I've talked myself in circles into thinking Buzz Williams is just a great hire. I mean, I don't know who else it would have been. That's the problem. There isn't another name out there.
I got an answer, and it's an easy one. Now, programs and presidents and athletic directors, they have to win the hire, and they have to protect themselves. There's so much political intent that goes behind these hires. But for me, and he's not a name, but for me, the basketball I watched this year, I would have ran those polygamists in Brigham Young University, and I would have grabbed the 42-year-old Kevin Young, and I would have dragged his ass back to Maryland and said, let's go. Let's freaking run this NBA offense and go balls to the walls. I saw enough. You're not going to win anything as far as the press conference with Kevin Young because he's an unknown person. But he came in, Mark Pope flipped BYU to Kentucky, and Young did a better job than Pope did at BYU in year one.
Are we sure he's definitely Mormon? I know he's coaching at BYU.
Oh, I don't know if he's Mormon. I just know that everybody that lives there is. I have no clue if he is. Listen, if the Mormons want to pay me money to go host a radio show in Salt Lake, your boy's coming if the price is right. So I don't really care if people get freaky with other people's wives. That is not my business, and I've never been one to pry.
No, but the point is, you would think that there'd be longevity. And he'd want to stay at BYU if he was a Mormon. But I'm looking at his history. He was born in Utah, but he coached in Georgia. He coached at Middle Georgia College, at Clayton State, and then eventually worked his way up in the NBA ranks. So you think about the athletes in that area, that probably, you're right, that would have been the sexy hire. Go bring
Well, let me
him
ask
in,
you. Let me
get
ask you a
some
question.
studs.
Let me ask you a question. Was Thomas Jefferson Mormon?
I don't believe so.
No, Thomas Jefferson, one of our founding fathers, a president, Louisiana Purchase. Look it up, kids. Was he Mormon? He was not Mormon, but he started the University of Virginia. Bronco Mendenhall, who is Mormon, was at BYU and couldn't wait to get to Virginia. So what are you trying to? It doesn't matter. Virginia couldn't be less
there was
Mormon.
Loyalty there. Yeah, and to be fair, Mormonism wasn't created till like the 1800s. So I mean, it's a whole. There's no shot Thomas Jefferson was Mormon, by the way. Just
But Mormonism was created because people were freaky. If we're being fair, and I don't have issues with it. I don't judge proclivity.
It was. Yeah, before like real capitalism, they were the original hoarders. They were like, one wife's not enough. I'd like 2, 3, 4, maybe 5.
Right. Okay. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. So the news, of course, is Buzz Williams is now on his way from A&M to College Station to College Park. The last time I checked. So congratulations. He went from one college to the other. That's easy math. It looks like Beard is going to flip Ole Miss to A&M and get paid. No surprise there. Beard's a good coach. I think Beard would have been the bigger hire for Maryland over Buzz. He had a tremendous run at Texas Tech. Now, the problem with Beard, and this is what I'm talking about winning the hire, people are going to Google him. And if you Google Beard, there's going to be an issue. That's it. So you don't want to be the PR person. Now, we are past cancel culture. Thank God. We are past it. You could say whatever you want in the Lord's year 2025. You can get down. You can get busy. It's free reign. But Chris Beard still is Googleable, and that's an issue.
Yeah, it's a tough one to run away from. It's a tough one to bury if you're going to look it up. What I'd say in the positive side about Chris Beard is while Ole Miss does have, SEC money, it doesn't have that A&M money. A&M's got that oil money. It's got that farm money. It's got that eggs at the grocery store money right now. So you give him a coach like that who can do more with less to go down to College Station, he would be a home run, as you touched on before. The fact that he's already recruited the state of Texas, that he was at Texas Tech, and he built that program that McCaslin took over, yeah, I think him at A&M would be a home run. That's a 10 out of 10 if you're the Aggies at this point.
All right, 888-623-3646. Now, if you have a thought on Buzz Williams, my assumption is we're not going to be lighting up the lines for Buzz takes because it's Buzz Williams. That's what he is. So, having said that,
he's shtick.
No, he's definitely shtick. You know what he reminds me of? He is like the dude at Minnesota in college football, PJ Fleck. He rows boats. Greg Schiano.
The vest. The vest. Everything's like planned out ahead of time. The motivational stuff. Yeah, no, you're right.
So the Final Four itself, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. Anything as far as movement from yesterday? Of course, you had Florida and Auburn, with Florida laying 2.5. I think that goes closer to 2, 1.5 if Broome is – when we think he's going to – obviously, Broome's going to play. It's just how healthy he is. Is that still sitting Florida 2.5?
Yep, seeing Florida 2.5. That total is 159 and a hook.
And then Duke, who has the highest ceiling of the 4 teams. I don't think anybody would debate that. Duke yesterday was 5.5 over Houston. Is that the same today?
Still looking at 5.5, and it's a low total, 136.5. I understand like the metrics with Duke defensively, and obviously what Kelvin Sampson has done traditionally from that end of the floor, but 136.5 feels kind of low. Maybe that's factoring your favorite angle that I was talking about all last week, playing in a football stadium in the Alamo Dome. That's the only way I can think of it, because
don't do it, dude.
Can shoot
Please,
threes.
just don't do it to me. I can't hear about a football stadium again. Now, it is a historic Final Four. Look, that's where we sit today, just days out on April 1st from the Final Four on Saturday. Now, we've had Ken Pomeroy on. If you don't know who Ken Pomeroy is, he's kind of the GOAT when it comes to college basketball analytics. The coaches study Ken Pom, the bettors study Ken Pom, the big guy studies Ken Pom, and I study Ken Pom. And he comes on the show. He doesn't do any. I don't know why he likes our asses. I think he used to listen to the rap, but he comes on this show. It makes no sense. Now, would our bosses have eaten? No, I'm just playing. Since 96, 97, Ken Pom has been doing the team ratings. Now, the team ratings, they essentially, offensive, defensive efficiency, net rating, all combined. These are since 96, 97. I graduated high school in 96, and I'm old. So that is what, 30 years ago, 29 years ago, something like that. In 30 years, the top 10 teams that Ken Pom has ranked as far as metrics, these 4 teams are in the top 10, which is crazy. You might have the tweet in front of me that Norlander tweeted out. I think Houston's 10, something like that. But these 4 teams are in the top 10 of Ken Pom rankings since 96, 97, which is incredible. You got that?
Yep. So number 10 is Auburn this year. Florida is number 8. Houston is number 6. And Duke is number 2 all time.
Yeah, that's the point about a very unfulfilling NCAA tournament in 2025 is that hopefully we're going to be rewarded with this Final Four. That's all we can hope for. Listen, people, we've been trying to carry the water of this dumb tournament for a long time now, and it just has not been exciting. But we're hoping Saturday has a little juice to it, and I think it will. I think the match. Let's hear from Todd Golden. Todd Golden. I'll give you guys a second to set it up. Was on with Adam Shine today. Shine on Sports here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. There is no discernment for me with Florida and Auburn. If Broome is playing, that to me is a pick 'em. I got nothing on that game. If I had to pick the Duke-Houston game, I can't see Houston beating Duke, to be fair. A great defense versus a great offense, but Duke can defend their asses off as well. I want Houston to win that basketball game. My assumption is Duke wins by 7. But Todd Golden, who's done a great job at Florida, big guy, you want to set this up?
Yeah, so Todd Golden went on Shine on Sports. He's 39 years old, born in 1985, and he went through the emotions of making it to the Final Four this year.
Really a full circle moment, for me to be able to, climb out the ladder, as you said, cut these nets down in San Francisco, which is such an important part of my and my family's life. We raised our kids there for 6 years, and to be able to bring my program from Florida all the way out to the Bay and win 2 huge games for a trip to San Antonio, it was amazing.
Bringing up the kids is rich.
Yeah, well,
bringing up the kids is wild for Todd. Todd's done a great job. I mean, just leave the family out of it. You got to read the room, Todd.
Deactivate the family when you're mentioning it publicly, like you deactivated that Tinder account you were opening up down there in Gainesville.
Todd, you got to read the room. Just leave it alone. Just be happy you're still coaching, and you're a hell of a coach. You're 39 years old and you're a Final Four. Just leave the family out of it. I think you've done enough. You've done enough as a coach, and you've done enough as a dad and a husband. We definitely know that, but I'm not disparaging. I'm not here to do that. That's not my job. My job is to let you know, great job by Adam Shine, getting Todd Golden, and that kid's a hell of a coach. When you look at Shire and Golden, you put them over here, big guy, there's nothing. Like there is no storyline. They're creating their legacy right now. The Shire legacy, doing it so quickly after following maybe the GOAT, is pretty impressive. Really what it comes down to is Calvin Sampson, who's 69, and Bruce Pearl, who's 65. Those are the legacies that are on the line come Saturday. Sampson, many believe tacticianally, as a tactician, obviously, as a recruiter, he's done it so many different places, one of the greats of all time, but 3 Final Four appearances, 2 AP Coaches of the Year, and then now Bruce Pearl, who's 65, 2 Final Four appearances. Those 2 have a legacy that's on the line coming up on Saturday.
And the window's closing in more than one ways. It's not just age for them. It's also age for their players. You look at Pearl, he's got 4 key guys that are seniors this year. So they're obviously gone, and he's going to have to start over. And you're still at a football school. I understand he's made a couple runs here in the Final Four. Auburn, though, it's not like the expectation, the pressure's on next year to get back and the clock's ticking for Bruce. For Sampson, he's going to lose Cryer, he's going to lose Roberts. I imagine Emmanuel Sharp is going to the NBA. He's just a junior, but he's had a great year. If he does decide to come back, that would be massive, but still 2 key guys for him to have to replace next year at 69 years old. It's just how many elite years does Kelvin Sampson have left down in Houston? He seems to be fine, but I mean, that could fall off at any point. But I'm wondering if you think there's more pressure on Shire or more pressure on Golden. I know it's less than the other two, but I look at it as Shire. It's a self-fulfilling thing with Duke. Right? It feeds itself. It's a beast that feeds itself every year. Those players are coming in. It's just a machine. But if he doesn't capitalize early on in this run here, it does feel like there could be pressure on him down the road. And then for Golden, what would a championship mean to him in building that program in Gainesville? It feels like if he wins a title this year, that becomes an absolute monster year after year down in Florida.
Yeah, Donovan style, who went back to back in the day. Listen, I would say there's zero pressure on Shire and Golden, if I'm being completely fair.
Okay.
Shire, more pressure because he's the favorite in the market. He's got 3 lottery picks. But just to plainly answer your question, these guys are playing with so much house money being in the Final Four this year. It's freaking ridiculous. The pressure is squarely on Sampson and Pearl, and that's not even up for debate.
So that's the title we deserve then. We deserve Houston versus Auburn in the title game. That's the championship America deserves, because the expectation is Shire will get back here, Golden will get back here, but to see those 2 guys, 2 heavyweights, try and get their first national title, that's what I want to see.
Yep, we're going to get picks from one of the best to do it, Mike Randall, coming up next. FTN, of course, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. He joins if you want the picks, not just for, of course, you got the Masters coming up, got NBA, you got NHL, you've got baseball in full swing, and we've got the Final Four. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe. You can sign up right now for $1.58. You get everything we offer, the splits, tools to become a more sophisticated handicapper. VSiN.com/subscribe. Promo code Sirius. Mike Randall joins us next. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Well, get on the buzz bus. Our next guest is fired up about what's happening at Maryland, Mike Randall, and you can hear him smack dab in the middle of the day. It's about time, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's prime time, and that's big time for a man that, you know, really encapsulates greatness. He is Mike Randall, FTN Fantasy, Chief Content Officer, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio host. Again, his show has moved to 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern time, which is wonderful, at Randall Rant on Twitter. We were just talking about Buzz to Maryland and Willard to I was going to say Providence, but Willard over to Villanova. What's your take on those two hires?
Never been a fan of Kevin Willard. Don't understand it. He was at Iona. He never wins big games. He's a good defensive coach. They're not good on offense. I don't know why he's so highly sought after. They had a credible amount of talent this year, and they should have lost to Colorado State in the round of 32. I don't get it. That's fine. If Villanova wants him, that's great. On the way out the door, he certainly made no friends whatsoever. So that one I don't like. As far as Buzz Williams, going instead to Maryland, you had Willard going to Villanova and Buzz Williams going to Maryland. That's a fantastic hire, guys, because you have Buzz Williams, who is a great coach. He's never really had an elite offensive weapon, but every year he does more with less. This is a guy who's been to an Elite Eight in his history. He did well at Virginia Tech. He did well at Texas A&M. He came within an overtime of knocking off Houston when they were 1 seed a couple of years ago. So all he has to do is get a couple guys who can score an offense. And if he gets that, he's going to be in great shape. You know, he can coach defense. So I think if I'm Maryland, I'm thrilled. If I'm Villanova, I'm scratching my head. Guys, Kevin Willard won a Big East tournament with Seton Hall. # blind squirrel. Had a nice little run. I just don't see that happening again. And I think they're firing here on a team that, quite frankly, can we whisper it, underachieved this year. They did.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people look at this and go, you know what? Based on the situation, Maryland did okay here. They're actually upgraded. The question is, where does A&M go? What does A&M do now they have an opening? You know, they have a ton of money. They have a ton of resources, but the SEC is absolutely brutal. Who do you see end up being the Aggie head coach?
It's a good question. I don't have an answer right now, Dustin, but there's 1 or 2 ways that they can go. Number one, they can get somebody from a small school. I mean, look what Drake did with Ben McCollum, and now Ben McCollum all of a sudden is at Iowa. So you can go finding with a small school, or you can try to find a veteran coach that comes in there. But I think the move is to go younger. Fran McCaffrey leaves Iowa. He goes to UPenn. I think the move is to find an up-and-coming young coach. And the key is these guys, Dustin, if they can coach, the NIL takes away sort of the recruiting issue. So in some ways, NIL is a positive here because it lets the coaches coach. They don't have to worry about selling the school because if you hand the kid a certain amount of money, he'll consider coming there anyway.
We're talking to Mike Randall about college hoops. So let's talk about the pressure on the coaches. Shire and Golden, you can put them over here. I mean, maybe Shire because he's got such a great team. A lot is expected, Randall, because, you know, they're favorites in the market, but he's going to be there forever and build a legacy. Golden's 39 years old. Put him over here. Comes down to Sampson, who's 69, and Pearl, who's 65. Let's talk about legacy for those two coaches going into the weekend.
Sampson's incredible. And what I love, Patrick, about Kelvin Sampson, and somehow they're an underdog yet again, which I think is hilarious. Kelvin Sampson has been so underrated because he's had bad luck with injuries. You know, Kelvin Sampson is a defensive first coach, but this is a team that's done Final Four, Elite Eight, Sweet 16, Sweet 16 the last 4 years. And oh, by the way, they were in the American for most of those years. And since they've come over to the Big 12, all they've done is been the best team in the Big 12. That's how good a coach he is. But they always had key injuries, whether it was a player getting hurt in the Sweet 16 last year or the year before. Now they're fully healthy. He's outstanding. Bruce Pearl has been fantastic with Auburn. Guys, what we laugh about is Auburn, I don't believe, had been to a Final Four. Now Bruce Pearl's there, and they've been to 2. And remember, Bruce Pearl lost his best player that year. They made a run to the Final Four. And if they don't foul Kyle Guy on a three-pointer from Virginia, they're in the championship game, and they may actually beat Texas Tech and win a national title. So Pearl's done an incredible job. I remember he came over to Tennessee. He was jumping up and down, supporting the women's team, and has built it into an absolute powerhouse now at Auburn. So great job by Pearl and great job by Sampson, both of which are very underrated still.
From a coaching perspective, Randall, it's Pearl who seems to get more people having issues with decisions he makes in games. If Bruce Pearl is going to lose this game for Auburn, like what is the normal trend for him where things kind of go haywire?
Yeah, I think the issue, Dustin, is that there are some guys like the Brad Stevens of the world who design the inbounds play, and all of a sudden the guy's wide open. You saw that with Kelvin Sampson on the inbounds play against Purdue. Pearl doesn't have that reputation, but that doesn't mean he can't win. You know, Bobby Bowden won an awful lot of games at Florida State, not being known as an X and O coach. And here's the problem. You can be the X and O coach, but if you can't relate to the players, that doesn't matter as well. And Bill Belichick out in Cleveland was fired when he's with the Browns. So the key is you have to have the right mix. But of course, as a basketball guy myself, and a lot of people love basketball, they want to see the inbounds play for the layup to know that you have the X's and O's. Guys, I'm old enough to remember that Jay Wright was not considered an X and O guy until all of a sudden he won titles. So the key is building a program. If Pearl loses this game, I don't see it being an X and O thing. I just see the other team playing better. He has built a big man in Janai Broome. He got Tahad Pettiford, who's a star from New Jersey, freshman, hasn't started a game this year, yet he's probably the second, if not the first best player on that team, hasn't complained once. That's a skill. Let's not sell it short because he may not have a backdoor lob against a 1-3-1 zone.
Yeah, the ball back to the inbounder with Sampson was so just surgical. But you two are too young to remember the best tactician to ever coach basketball, and that's Larry Brown. And Larry Brown, Randall, you're too young. Settle down, Randall. You're too young.
I wish.
Larry Brown coming out of a timeout. Larry Brown inbounds. Nobody drew it up like pound for pound. Larry Brown, and I knew that because, of course, he coached my Pistons. Still, I believe, the only dude to win a national championship in college and win an NBA championship. That's for Mike Randall. A little trivia. He knows it. Let's get to the games. You tell me the difference between Florida and Auburn. I got nothing unless Broome's hurt.
The difference is Florida beat Auburn in Auburn 90-81 on Saturday, February 8th. Now that's impressive enough, Patrick, but you know what's even more impressive? Elijah Martin didn't play in that game, their second best player. Here's the problem. They have the size inside and they can guard the perimeter and they have shot makers. So I certainly give the advantage to Florida for sure, and I'm not sure about Broome. I mean, he mouthed when he went off the court, "I'm done." And then he came back and ended up doing okay. But sometimes those injuries a couple days later, you know, they sort of linger here. So I certainly lean Florida. But again, Pearl, without his best player, was able to get to the Final Four and almost the final game. So I think it's a fantastic matchup. But because Florida went into Auburn, hung 90 in early February when Auburn was beating everyone, I'm going to lean Florida in this case. And Elijah Martin did not play in that game. You know him of the FAU pedigree. So he's played in big games before.
Game on the line, Florida and Auburn. Clayton, that's the player we have to trust the most, right, Randall? Like, that's the guy you want with the ball, the guy with the last shot, the ball in his hands to do the right thing. The three he hit against Texas Tech was one of the smartest/dumbest, and I mean that in a good way, shots I've ever seen in a clutch moment. What are we going to do when it comes to Walter Clayton in this matchup in the Final Four?
I just think it's a little high, Dustin. I think 20.5 is high for Auburn. You know, Walter Clayton had 19 in that game against Auburn on the road, and that was without Martin on the court. There's no way Bruce Pearl's letting Walter Clayton get wide open. He is a great shot maker. He's great at the free throw line. Not the most athletic guy, though. It's not like he's going to go in there, hang in the air, bounce off of people. So 20.5 is high for him. I'm going under on Walter Clayton. I expect a big game. I expect an efficient game, but I don't know if he's getting 21. That I don't see.
Mike Randall joining us talking Final Four. Alamo Dome coming up on Saturday. Of course, FTNFantasy.com for the edges and SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. Rick Barnes is a good basketball coach. Calvin Sampson in Houston, they patted him on the head this week. I mean, that was like they could have called their number. And Tennessee fought in the second half, Randall, but Houston was just that was a bunch of men out there, and they're taking on a young team in Duke. The number is up to 5.5 at a couple of shops. Does that feel long to you?
Yeah, it's a mistake. Guys, Rick Barnes is an outstanding coach, and I was rooting for him. The problem with Rick Barnes, and like many of these other coaches, is you can build for regular season success, or you can forget the regular season success and just try to go for the Holy Grail. Barnes is not going to do the latter. They need a scorer. They had one last year with Dalton Connect, and I'm still convinced if Santiago Vescovi doesn't get injured or get sick, they actually beat Purdue in a game they played very well. He does not have that player this year. So Tennessee actually, to me, exceeded expectations, having a bunch of guys that all average about 8 points. Chazaliner wasn't on, they went down. But on the counter to that, Kelvin Sampson and Houston have been waiting for a team that's fully healthy. We're a little excited about Duke. They've looked good. Cooper Flagg looks good. Do you think Kelvin Sampson with Javier Francis and Juwan Roberts won't cook something up for Cooper Flagg? Let's just remember for a second, guys, Houston lost once since November 30th. Once. And by the way, they happen to play in the Big 12, so they're playing some big-time teams. We're selling them way short here by giving 5.5 points. And forget the fact that it's in San Antonio in Texas. Odd line. I know the Duke love, the public love. Let's take it easy. Cooper Flagg's going to go to the basket. He's going to be put on the floor in the first play. Everyone's got a plan till they're hit in the mouth. Let's see what happens there. I will take Houston in the 5.5.
Randall. I love it, Randall. I love that as someone who has Houston plus 650. And look, Duke is the younger team, more experience on Houston's side, more physical on Houston's side. But let's just talk about what Duke did to Alabama, because I don't know about you. They look so composed in these pressure spots, this team, despite their inexperience. They just look like they're ready for any situation. What have been your takeaways of watching John Shire coach this year?
John Shire has done better than I thought he would. It was very hard because you don't want to be the man that follows the man. You want to be the man that follows the man that follows the man. But Shire has fit right in. What he's done a great job of is balancing his attack and also doing those X's and O's, Dustin, that you mentioned. When they played Alabama, it's very simple how you beat Alabama. It's hard to do because you need talent to score. But it's very simple. When they drive to the basket, do not help and recover. And we've all been taught that since I was playing middle school basketball with headgear and braces. Help and recover, help and recover. Well, you know what you do against Alabama? You just help, you don't help, and you just stay home. So when Mark Sears goes to the basket and drives out of control, he's looking to kick the ball out. Duke didn't respond. In this matchup against Houston, though, I want to see what Shire is going to do, because Houston doesn't have one specific way that they're going to play. But Shire has had the players to buy in. He has a good culture. They fight for him. And he's been able to combine those X's and O's ever since you're hearing these stories of him being a legendary player, not only in college, but in high school. So he does have the perfect combination. I didn't know if he would get the buy-in from the players, but he has. I'm just curious what he's going to do now, because how do you make your players tougher? That's what you have to do against Houston. It's not as simple as taking away the three-point arc like Alabama can, and most teams can't do that because they can't score on the other end. But when you have Cooper Flagg, you can. But in this game, it's going to be a gut check time. It's going to be what's in their heart. There's no X's and O's against Houston. You just have to get tough, and I want to see how Shire's team responds.
Yeah, I'm smelling an outright winner for Houston from Randall. Is that on the table?
100%. It's not that Duke isn't great, guys, but we're crowning Duke right away based on what? They've never played Houston. That one is odd to me. It's fine. You beat Alabama. Congratulations. They took, 35 three-pointers and 4 two-pointers? Houston doesn't care. They're going to drive the ball right down your throat. So I think this is a gut check time. Let's see how tough, Duke, the only tough team you really played in the ACC was Clemson, and they beat you. So let's see now how tough you are. Everyone's on Duke, and I get it. But Kelvin Sampson, with a healthy team, with the size and the physicality, let's see how this works, John Shire.
Now, let me just say this. Before Cooper Flagg, the last I knew about Maine was when you and your boys grabbed the Birkenstocks in the tent and would go camping up there in the summer. Okay, I know nothing. I know lobster, and I know you with the Birkenstocks and the hacky sack. But I'll say this about Cooper Flagg. I don't know what his ceiling is in the pros, but he's efficient. He can dish it. He can run an offense. Like, he might be great. He might just end up being a great basketball player at the next level.
He might be, and he does it all. What's great is he is a great passer, a great teammate, a great rebounder. Shire had to pull him inside and say, you have to start scoring for us. And you guys saw it in the game. I think it was a Sweet 16 game coming up on the half. He got the ball, dribbled up, looked at the clock, 4 seconds left, pulled up from 3. He has it all. He's a very unselfish player. He's got the whole skill set. He's going to be a great pro, and he's actually now becoming a go-to player down the stretch. Scary thought.
All right. Well, Randall, we'll say goodbye. Now, generally, when we're saying goodbye, you're off to grind, but now you're off to hang with the family. Maybe a rolling rocker, too. It's a big night for you, no?
Yep, playing one-on-one with my son and talking trash all the way through. Nothing better, guys.
Now, as a parent, you're a parent, like, you're about sportsmanship. You ran track at Boston College. Your daughter's a tremendous volleyball player, but you want her to be composed. You want her to be a good teammate. Let's make sure your kids don't end up being Kevin Willards. You understand? Let's instill some values in these kids.
Patrick, respect all, fear none. That's the motto in this house.
Coming from a guy that pummels his 12-year-old in ping pong. Hey, you got to teach them. Win, lose, stay the same. FTNfantasy.com. Make sure you go check out the models over there. Not just college basketball, every sport. And you can hear Randall, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Randall, it's a great job.
You guys are the best. Thanks.
All right, there he goes with the hacky sack and the Birkenstocks at Maine. Look, it's not often you got the whitest dude from the whitest state in the world.
You know,
just absolutely hooping. And there is no doubt he is going to be the number 1 overall pick. And I'd say he's the best prospect since Zion.
Oh yeah, and he's people may not like this. I think
No,
he's
I can't say better than Zion. Zion's dealt with being fat and injuries.
More complete maybe because the defensive end of things, but you just triggered something. What are the whitest states? I mean, Maine's up there for sure. Is it number 1? It's close. There's one right by it in Vermont. Feels like it might be whiter.
I mean, now you're parsing. If you, how would I know if Vermont or Maine are whiter? Here's what I do. Here's what I do know. You're not going to find anybody that looks like Joe Dumars in either state. So you keep trying to do shtick, and I'll come over the top, okay? So just settle down over there, big guy. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888 623 3646. Cooper Flagg is awesome, though. Like I said, he's efficient. I'll be honest with you, Dustin. What impresses me the most is the facilitation. At his size, he runs an offense. It's insane.
You know what it is? It's like Lamar Jackson when Lamar Jackson looks like he's moving in slow motion, but he's blowing past everyone on the field. That's what Cooper Flagg looks like to me attacking the basket. It looks like his body's moving slow, but he's going right past everyone and they don't have a chance to stop him.
Yeah, no, he's a hell of a. You almost didn't want to be it on Flagg because, well, he is from Maine. But, I mean, he can hoop, and he's got a little edge to him, too. I like the player. And I have no issues with Maine. I really don't. I took a family vacation there with the station wagon one time. I remember my parents fought the whole way.
You went to Maine?
Oh, yeah. We used to jump in the station wagon with the car top carrier up top once a year. Those are trying times. And I used to sit in the wagon. Now, this is very safe. I used to sit looking out the back window with no seatbelt in the back. Zip it. Play some. You know what we're going to do when we come back? We're going to bet some NBA. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, so I just texted the boys. You know, they're buzzing in the group. You can find our group chat over at the Family Bets on Discord if you want to join the community. And you can also join the chat right now at VSiN Live on YouTube. But my Red Wings are at the Blues. And, of course, it's kind of a Blues show with the family, with Aaron Halterman. We do welcome you back, by the way. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher here on VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. With Halterman and Samich, it's become a Blues family. But the Red Wings are at the Blues tonight. Now, the Red Wings are playing horrifically, and the Blues are playing great hockey right now. So I asked the boys, and the boys said lay a $1.50 with the Blues. Scratch that. I'm going Blues in overtime. And so remember, you go regulation as opposed to, so you cut the number. I'm guessing it's 180 on the Blues. It'll cut it down to 140 if the Blues win in overtime. It's 135, no overtime. So I'm going to go Blues 135. Hate to fade the Red Wings in the winged wheel, but it's about that green, big guy.
I was wondering if you were just going to like change your ways at your age at 47 years old and just lay that $1.50, but no, you can't do it. You can't. Once you're setting your ways betting wise, you're never laying that $1.50. You're not betting the run and a half. It's not happening.
You know me too well. When I started betting, and I was way too young. The smartest bettor I knew in Michigan, and he ended up being the bookmaker. He was so good. He said, kid, if you're laying a run and a half in baseball, you're a sucker. And for some reason, it just stuck with me. And I've never laid a run and a half. And again, what laying a run and a half for novices means is you bet on a baseball team, you get a better number, but you got to win by 2 runs. I just don't.
Yeah, it's how many times you watch a baseball game and it ends in a 1-run game? I mean, 1-0, or like the bullpen, it's not the closer coming in late and he just allows a couple runs that don't matter, but then closes the door. I learned betting from you, so unfortunately, I've taken that philosophy that you learned from that guy, and it's now been passed down to me.
Better than learning it from like Steve Fezzik or Jared Smith, if we're being honest. Let's be. What up, big guy? What up? We're back. Major League Baseball full slate, and we're betting it. We'll get you caught up with the storylines as well. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Go to vsin.com/newsletter, download it, get you set up every single morning. Absolutely free. Bill A.D. We had Brent Musburger, the legend. He's making appearances in the newsletter for the Final Four. He does a great job as well. Free picks, everything you need to set up your betting day and your sports day. Go to vsin.com/newsletter for more information. As we welcome you back here, it's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher, Nia Hardman, Ryan Smith. At VSiN Live on YouTube if you want to get involved. My apologies. I had no clue my actual phone screening system was down, so I didn't know we had calls. So I was just rambling and babbling and doing our thing. We are going to be talking baseball coming up in a little bit with the Diamond Dish, but let's mix in some calls. You know, the big storyline, I guess, would be Buzz Williams headed to Maryland as the coaching carousel continues, but I also think that there is a lot of intrigue when it comes to the Final Four. We just went through who has pressure, Dustin, and it's obviously Calvin Sampson and Bruce Pearl. I mean, really, for Sampson, getting to a final would be huge. Pearl is at a program, if you look at Houston, Auburn, Duke, and Florida, I mean, it's obvious Auburn has the least amount of history. The only thing Auburn's known for is Charles Barkley. Other than that, they have no story as far as a history. Of course, Houston, runners-up back-to-back years back in 83, 84. They've reached the Final Four 7 times. Duke has 18 Final Fours, 5 national titles, last national title in 2015. And, of course, Florida with Donovan, 6 Final Fours and 2 national championships. So, really, when you look at the 4 programs on a whole, macro level, what Bruce Pearl has done with Auburn's tremendous.
Duke has been to more Final Fours than Auburn's been to NCAA tournaments. 18 Final
incredible.
Fours, as you just said, 14 total tournament berths for Auburn. It's a football school. Like, they never have cared about basketball until they went out and they brought in Bruce Pearl, and he's a name, he's a figure people know, and he's built something special. There are only 2 Final Four runs with Bruce Pearl. They've had 14 total All-Americans in history, but to me, I want to see Kelvin Sampson win one. I mean, when we look back at history, you and I have discussed it a bunch. The whole, he got fired for sending too many text messages when text messaging was new and there weren't enough rules around it. Like, we're going to look back and go, that was laughable. That's what got him kicked out of Indiana. But this guy's won. He's built a program. It feels like it's been building and building and building. So you'd like to see him just get one for all the hard work and the way his team has played over the last few years.
Yeah, text messages are a theme with the coaches in the Final Four. Calvin Sampson is so bitter. He's like, I got in trouble. Look at Todd Golden.
Yeah, we were both texting 17-year-olds, and I got in trouble, and he didn't.
Yeah, that's unreal. All right, let's get to the calls. 888-623-3646, and we'll start in Louisiana here on VSiN Live with Adam. Adam, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Good. Adam, what's up?
Well, first of all, I'm glad all that math paid off. Actually landed exactly on the number I said. I believe I said 121.5 for the total for that game last weekend, and came right to 122. So
you did. I bet it when you said it. That's a tremendous job, Adam. Great job by you. You had the numbers, you had the metrics, and you nailed it.
And which is why I'm coming back today. I ran the same numbers that I used last time on the Florida-Auburn game. And at least if these numbers can be believed, the numbers say the total should be about 144, and it likes Florida minus about 4.5.
So you like Florida to cover the 2.5? And I'm sorry, what'd you say total?
The total should be closer to about 144.
And what are we looking at right now, big guy, on that total?
159.5.
So we like Florida in the under there, Adam.
That's a big disparity.
Hey, you're on record, but big guy, and that's Adam, the big guy, not Dustin, the big guy. You're on record because he called in and he waterboarded us with those numbers last week, but let's be honest, the guy was right.
He won. That's all we care about. Are you going to win? So tell us what you like. Tell us why you like it. We'll bet it.
Exactly. Let's go to Chevy Chase, where obviously there's a lot of news today, and say hi to our buddy Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hey guys, thank you. I have to react to the, I always get triggered by what I think is sort of the overdrive that some of the hype gets into, and I think we're seeing that with Cooper Flagg, which is not to say he's not a very good player, but first of all, when you say he's the best prospect since Zion Williamson, guys, 2 years ago, just 2 years ago, we were being told Victor Wembanyama was the best prospect in the
No, I
history
meant
of
college.
prospects.
You're right. Victor Wembanyama, 10 times Cooper Flagg. I just meant collegiate athlete. My bad.
Right. And in fairness to Williamson, and again, I hate doing this because it sounds like I'm dumping on Cooper Flagg, which I'm not, but I am trying to bring some perspective to this. Zion Williamson is a physical train wreck, but Zion Williamson, first of all, right now he is the NBA's career field goal percentage leader among people averaging over 17 points a game. Everybody else ahead of him are people like Clint Capella and Tyson Chandler, who took 4 shots per game. The guy put up phenomenal numbers. I can't imagine Cooper Flagg is going to come close to those kind of numbers. I just think it's a little too much, guys. And I'm not picking on you or even saying you're doing it, but you're hearing a lot of it. He is prone to inconsistency. 2 games ago he was great. Last game he stunk, and everybody's making excuses for that. He is prone to inconsistency, and let him be great before we call him great, because there's nothing historic in the season he's putting up now. Let me ask you a question, 2 questions. One, do you think he'll be a better player than Jason Tatum?
Oh, no. Tatum, I mean, but to be fair, Tatum is perennially now an MVP candidate.
He's great.
Yeah, he's great.
Hey guys, I'm actually in Massachusetts, and I don't bet, but I was looking. What are the kind of odds on individual props for him in the next game? What are the bookies books putting up in terms of like points and stuff for him?
Go ahead, big guy. You got it.
My internet just crapped out. Give me 2 seconds and I'll pull it up.
We'll give you those numbers even if we hang up, Bill. What's your second question?
No, that was really it. I just
okay.
I just wanted to again. Will he be a very good player? Yes, he is. I just think it's a little out of control.
I think no, that's fair. Listen, the Zion conversation is one that is, look, you even saw it in the postseason last year. Remember when he came back? He just made Ingram completely irrelevant, because when Zion's on, he is a scoring machine. Like, he is so good. The problem is he's got weight issues and he's got a broken body. As far as just raw talent, no, Cooper Flagg is not Zion. No. But and explosiveness and everything but Cooper Flagg is going to be a very well-rounded player. The Tatum comp is interesting. Could he turn into a Tatum? I'm not so sure. But that's a good question.
I don't know if he's that kind of scorer, but he does have an all-around game. And Zion, by the way, had a crazy year this year when he played. 24, 7, and 5, 56% from the field. But also the problem with Zion and the body, it's so much of it is that he's so explosive at that size, despite the weight issues. At some point, that's going to catch up with him. I think the comp for Cooper Flagg, and this is just off the top of my head, a couple of guys who I think do everything across the board. He's like a better Josh Giddey. He's a better Scotty Barnes. I don't know who that comp is in terms of talent, though. It's like a notch above. I'm struggling to come up with a name. But his props as far as the Houston game go in the Final Four. Point total set at 19.5. His rebounds set at 8.5. And his assists set at 4.5.
Okay. Yeah, the comp on Cooper Flagg, and we can do white on black. We can do black on white.
Yeah.
It doesn't have. Actually, I think the Tatum one's a pretty good one, and I don't think he's going to be Tatum. Yeah, maybe I'm gassing him up a little bit. I just think there's a lot of raw ability, and I like when I see somebody that is that advanced at his size that he can score as a passer, is where I'm like, all right, this guy. There's so many elements to his game now. If we're comparing anybody in the last 20, I would say 20 years to Wembanyama, that's insane. If you were to start the league right now with a draft, 100 out of 100 GMs, if there were 100 teams, would take Victor Wembanyama number one, it wouldn't be close.
No, there are NBA teams working with scientists right now to find a way to create another human being like Victor Wembanyama. Like that's where it's at with the physical skills and the size and what he has to offer. But Cooper Flagg can do everything. I think that's the big thing about him going to the NBA. He's going to hit the ground running. He's going to be able to contribute across the board. And I'm wondering if they're going to make him more of a point forward in the NBA. Like that would be the vibe I would do with Cooper Flagg. Let him facilitate, let him set things up, and then he can work in his offense as he gets more acclimated to the next level.
Don't let the big guy and eyes White Sox get hot.
What's the score?
Because I got over 2.5 runs on the White Sox. The big guy took a price hosting the 0-4 Twins, and the White Sox
stink.
bottom one out to a 1-0 lead. Runner spurts in second, one out. So we're looking to get a little busy early here.
I don't know what it is. I just don't like the Twins. Every year they bother me. They annoy me. I hate the way the team's built. And for a while there, they were good in making the playoffs every season. But there's something about the Twins that bother me. I would love to see them have to blow this thing up.
Your boy Senga and the Metsies against Alcantara. Is it Alcantara? Is it Alcantara?
No,
who cares?
It's Alcantara and Senga. He did go over his K-prop. That's what I needed. We got there, but it's not a good look if you're the New York Mets and you're supposed to be a really good offense this year, and you've only got 2 runs so far in this game. Now, Alcantara's out of the game, so maybe there's an opportunity in-game. Do we want to go Metsies in-game plus 370 in the 7th against that Marlins bullpen?
It is time to worry about the Mets offense because it is game 120 of 162, so it's starting to get there. No, I'm just playing. We are.
I mean, it's the
how
Marlins.
About my Tigers off the schneid last night?
No, they're winning that division. They're the best
They're
team in
going to win that division. They pummeled the Mariners last night. They're going against Gilbert tonight. Their run total set at 2.5, and Gilbert's great. Don't get it twisted. But you've talked about it. The Mariners' offense is pretty anemic, and I do believe you said it best. The Tigers played as well as you can possibly play and got swept by the Dodgers. Let's throw that series out and get the season started.
It may be the best baseball we've ever seen from a team go down 0-3 to start a season. Like they did everything right. They're still plus 230 to win this division, by the way. Royals are your favorite, and I'm not buying Kansas City. I'm sorry, people. Michael Wacha's not repeating what he did a year ago. Seth Lugo's arm could fall apart at any point in time. He's had a torn ligament in his elbow for like 6-7 years now. I am not buying the Royals. Everything about the Detroit Tigers is trending upward. I love your team this year. I love them. I think they're going to be one of the most fun teams to watch day in and day out in baseball.
If Harry Truman were alive, he'd fade the Royals and jump on the Tigers bandwagon. And he grew up like 10 minutes down the road from where the Royals play baseball. That's what I do know. Speaking of Tigers baseball, here's our buddy Tony in Detroit. Tony, welcome.
Hey, 2 things real quick before I get to Cooper Flagg. Hey, could you imagine if we had actually Mr. Illich still owning his team and not his kid who doesn't want to spend any money?
Mr. I at the trade deadline this year would be buying the planet.
Oh, yeah, it would be rolling. Instead, we got his kid who doesn't want to spend money. He owns 2 franchises. He owns a casino. He literally owns the whole city of Detroit. He's like the 7th richest owner in baseball, but he doesn't want to spend.
Well, he doesn't want to spend money because he's got to save money because he's getting a divorce.
Well, and you mark my words, he will not sign Scooble. They will not give him $300 million.
Oh, stop!
So hopefully, hey, listen, I'm telling you right now, and hopefully the Casey Mize tour starts tonight. The rebirth.
You can't. Don't do that to me. I can't handle. My heart can't handle it.
Hey, on Cooper Flagg, one thing about people, he reclassified. He was 17 when this season started. 17 years old. The kid is one of the – he's a man, but he's 18. But he's one of the best prospects coming out. And I'll tell you what, Zion Williams, if I brought you over and I had a Ferrari in my garage and tried to sell it to you with no engine in it, would you buy it? I mean, Zion's nice. He just sits on the bench, plays 26 games a year. I don't – and he's young and he's broken down. So Zion Williamson is an afterthought. He might be becoming the quickest afterthought of a player that was so hyped. It's kind of sad, to be honest with you. I would take Cooper Flagg if you had a draft right now and you gave me one of the 2. I wonder what most GMs I think would take Flagg. He's just turned 18, skilled beyond belief, and only going to get better. He he's one of the best prospects in recent history coming out of college. I agree with you on that, Patrick, 100%.
Yeah, no, Bill, that's what's good about Bill and Chevy Chase. He'll go the other way, but you mentioned it. He's so young. I think he's got it. When I've watched him, he had an edge to him, but I didn't see Shire pull him aside and be like, dude, you got to start going to the rim. You have to start taking over, stop facilitating. I didn't really see. He just has so much talent as well on that Duke team.
Yeah, I think sometimes they wait, and the mindset is we'll have Cooper Flagg take over if we need him to take over. Until then, let's just play our style of basketball. By the way, tweets coming in at The Rap Radio, at Dustin Swedelson, at Mad Dog Radio, at VSiN Live. That is a lot of Twitter handles. Twizzy wrote in, said Lamar Odom would be his comp for Cooper Flagg. It's pretty good. Also progressive to go cross-racial. Bill and Chevy Chase, who we just heard from, said Chris Webber as a point forward for Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, point forward's good. He is going to be a unique basketball player. You can stretch it with him. You can do a lot with Cooper Flagg. There's no debate he's the number one overall player out. The Zion thing is said. Listen, Zion was a child, too, coming out of a small town in South Carolina, got drafted number one overall, and he spends more time in DMs than he does on the court. But as Dustin Swedelson will tell you, as a 40-year-old man that just fell in love, imagine being 19, 20 years old in the NBA with NBA money and models lining up in your DMs. It's a life that would be hard to ignore.
If Mariah Mills was in my DM saying, come over, I wouldn't be here right now.
I don't know who that is.
That's who he got pregnant. A former, she might still be an adult film star, but that is what occurred for one Zion Williamson.
I didn't really?
He got addicted to those carbs, and he got addicted to different types of buns away from the court.
So if Mariah Miller, who is Mariah Mills, who apparently is with child, hollered, you'd still be in?
I mean, not right now because I am in a committed relationship, but if I was Zion Williamson and I was 21 years old in a strange city feeling a little bit lonely for the first time, I think Mariah Mills at that time was still in her prime. That is something I would have partaken in. Now, since then, Zion and her both have issues with, keeping the weight down, I would say.
When I asked Dustin the follow-up question about Mariah Mills, he got nervous like the kids in Band of Brothers about to go into war. That Shorty was listening, and he was going to give the wrong answer.
No,
he started sweating. He does not want to botch this thing.
We went in reverse, and you heard that truck making that noise. Beep, beep, letting everyone know I'm backing up.
He looked like, I'm trying to think of who that like Robert Parrish. Who's a sweating ass basketball player from back in the day? Patrick Ewing looked like, when I asked him the follow up about Mariah Mills, he looked like Patrick Ewing 10 minutes into a game.
Look, in credit to my girlfriend, they have a similar feature, and I'd say it's from the bottom half down. So it's a credit to her. She's transformed me. I used to like boobs better. Now I like butts.
We put the pieces together. It's literally a body. Everybody has one, and that's what's from the waist down.
You don't know what else I could have been into from the waist down? You don't know.
Not exactly the Da Vinci Code over there, big guy. We get it. we get it. All right, let's keep it going. 888-623-3646, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We say hi to the donkey-donk, Mike in the OC. Hi, Mike.
What a conversation. Dustin talking about his girlfriend and all this again. I mean, what the hell's going on?
Mashugana. What do you think? What do you think about the big guy being in love?
Oh, it's love. I'm excited. Is he going ring shopping in the next year?
Now, you can't be prying into his business like that.
All right.
Wait, Mike, if you have a good Diamond Connect, though, DMs are open.
Well, I had one 30 years ago, beautiful Italian, This guy had an office right by Angel Stadium. It was convenient.
No, there's no chance you drop more than like $800 on a ring. I know you. You're cheap.
It was nice, Patrick. I did a good job with that. No, I don't know how much it was back then. Yeah, it was pretty good money. So see what, a salary or something? 2 months? I don't know.
3 months of salary. That the big guy's adding
3 months.
Trust me. Oh
okay,
yeah.
I think we're about there. Hey, real quick about Larry Brown. You're talking about Larry Brown, right?
That.
What does Larry Brown and 3 of the coaches have in common in this Final Four, Patrick? Shalom
help me.
Aleichem. I'll give you a hint. Dustin knows. He's
Yeah,
Jewish.
What?
They're
Everybody-
Oh my
Jewish.
God! You guys, Jewish people are the weirdest freaking people in the world.
Hey,
Like,
has Dustin brought
what-
this up this week?
No, because I'm normal. I'm not. I'm
dude,
semi-normal.
Shiny's
No,
bringing
you're
it
not
up.
normal. The first, like you're obsessed with people being Jewish.
Wait a minute.
Guess which one?
Shine had-
Hold on, Mike. Patrick,
Go
guess
ahead.
which one of the four coaches is not the Jewish one?
I'm not. Listen, I'm not a genealogist or whatever, but my guess is your boy Calvin Sampson.
Ding, ding, ding.
Someone should make a joke about it. No,
Well, I
Sean
just
had
did.
Pearl and Golden. Look at that. And Golden was on Pearl's Israeli team when he coached in Israel. Do you believe that?
I
It's
can.
all good,
Yeah.
you know.
What do you
Larry
got?
Ralph's a hell of a coach. By the way, he led UCLA, Patrick, to the championship game in 1980 against Louisville. Remember Kiki Vandeweghe? You know Kiki and Rod Foster, Michael Holton. He's only there 1 year, then he left. You know, Larry, he bolted all the time, but he's a hell of a coach, really.
Yep.
So, yeah, you know, all that kind of stuff. Hey, my Angels. Patrick.
No. I just
No,
wanted
no.
you to run out of gas.
Just gripping and ripping.
He just even Mike was like, "Yeah, you want to let me go now?"
I just wonder sometimes, like, how often is he still going after we hang up and doesn't realize that he's been hung up on? I feel like
Well,
it happens a lot.
It's unfortunate because he takes the rest of his take to his poor wife.
She's got to hear it. I mean, he didn't have a take about the Angels. He just wanted to keep talking and hear
No,
himself.
he literally just said, "How about my Angels?" Nobody cares.
I
Literally.
mean, he doesn't even care.
It's hard to care about the Angels this year if we're being fair to Mike and the OC. How'd they start so far, by the way? Because we know how they're going to finish.
They're 3-1. Now, they did open the season with the White Sox and currently tied with the Cardinals. 1-1 top of the third, but they do have 2 runners on. I'm checking the box score because we are on Taylor Ward over 1.5 total bases. He has a single. We need one more hit from Taylor Ward to go over.
All right, there it is. Let's go to Charlotte, North Carolina here at VSiN Live and say hi to David. Hi, David.
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
Good. What's up, David?
You know, a couple of callers ago, the guy he did seem like he was confident that Cooper Flagg was going to do anything, and the guy just said the same thing. I don't know if this guy realized this guy's supposed to be in 12th grade. I mean, and he's probably going to win National Player of the Year, and I think Cooper's probably going to come into the league. He's probably going to average 15 or 16 his first year, but think about the longevity and how young this kid is. You peak at 27 and 28. This kid's going to be a perennial all-star. He's probably going to win 2 MVPs in his 15-year career. I just think the kid is phenomenal. I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be a scoring machine like I don't think he's going to be 30 point, but I think he's going to be a consistent 24-point guy. You 24 and 8. I mean, that's a hell of a damn career. That's pretty close to dominating, especially if he can get on a good team. It's going to be tough in the beginning because he's going to be the only guy on his team worth anything.
No, it's a good call. I think he skipped a grade, and that's why
did.
he is so.
Yeah.
That's why he is so young. That, from what I remember reading, I
He
think Cooper
reclassified. That's what the young kids do. If like you're legit, they jump up to get like Quinn Ewers skipped his senior year of high school to go to Ohio State. In basketball, I feel like basketball it's usually the opposite though. They drop down to be older in the grade to look better.
Yeah, he didn't need to. He didn't need to. I agree. I don't know if he's going to be the scorer of Tatum.
What about this comp? Jimmy Butler across the board, good, not great.
No, I just don't see. I don't see the skills translating. Like, I think he could be better than Jimmy Butler, but I don't think they have the similar skill set. It's a good question. Maybe it's not a terrible comp.
He's
It's
a number
weird.
2 though. He's a number 2. He's not a number 1.
Oh, he is. Yes, he'll be like a great number 2.
Yeah. If he's your number 2, you're winning titles. If he's your number 1, you're like right on the cusp, not able to get over the hump.
But that's a good point by David. If he's going to be drafted at 18.
Yeah.
So, I mean, by the time he's 21, you're not even done growing. Your brain doesn't finish forming until you're 25. Like he could turn into something special. It'll be interesting to follow along because you don't see it off. Literally, have we had a baller from Maine ever?
Oh God. Greatest athlete from the state of Maine. I'm gonna Google it, but I'm pretty sure it's Cooper Flagg.
Do it right now, real time. Greatest
State of
athlete
Maine.
from Maine.
Joan Benoit Samuelson. I'm just going by what AI says. The first woman to win an Olympic marathon in 1984 is widely considered the state's greatest athlete. Other names that you probably won't mention: baseball player Bill Swift. Duncan Robinson is from Maine for Miami Heat. Ryan Flaherty, former infielder. Yeah, no, he is the greatest athlete from Maine. I don't know who any of these people are. Ricky Craven, NASCAR legend. I mean, we're digging deep here.
Yeah, no offense to Shorty that you mentioned off the top. What's her name?
It would be Joan Benoit Samuelson, 1984 Olympic
You good, bro?
marathon. Yeah, winner.
Hey, shout to Joan. Cooper Flag's got big shoes to fill. When we come back,
And they're a women's size 7.
We're going to go over our NBA Major League Baseball props with our buddy Steuart Durst. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
I am nervous to ask you this, big guy, but you got a SiriusXM read for me?
I do, actually, because, hang on, why is it asking for my password?
Oof.
Here we go. Let's see. Every Major League Baseball game is on SiriusXM, including tonight's matchup between the Braves and the World Series champion Dodgers. Getting a plus price on Chris Sale tonight, by the way. That won't happen very often. Hear the action, 10 Eastern, MLB Network Radio, Channel 89. You can always listen to the hometown announcers over on the SiriusXM app.
All right, we do welcome you back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. On a Tuesday, of course, the Final Four coming up on Saturday. Plenty to do as we've got a busy baseball slate. The big guy and I are sweating the White Sox against the Twinkies. My Tigers coming up here in just a bit at the Mariners with Gilbert on the bump for the M's. Also, basketball. We have just one remaining. That's T-Wolves Nuggets, which is a very good one, if we're being honest. And to talk about basketball and baseball, we bring in our good buddy Steuart Durst, professional handicapper. You can find the podcast as well. Stu, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much, man. I'm having a great day. You know, I'm in DC. It's like 70 degrees and sunny now. It's kind of finally hit over here. So yeah, I really can't complain. I'm feeling good.
And
That's
excited because your boy Buzz Williams is in town. I'm sure that got you fired up today.
Yeah, I mean, it's just good to get that other mess out. It left such a bad taste in your mouth how that ended, you know, with such a good season, you know, kind of falling apart with like coaching controversy is never that fun. So, you know, good to have a new era coming in. I feel pretty good. I can't complain too much.
You know, we've had a lot of baseball, Stu, right? Opening day last week. Now we're getting in our little bit of a groove thing. And I think maybe our audience could benefit from your way of attacking props, because when it comes to baseball betting, you're the guy I look for on Twitter over on X at Monotone Football. You're always posting plays. A lot of them are plus money. And as someone who's only recently started dabbling into some of these player props, I'm just curious, like, how do you begin to target specific hitters, specific pitchers, and what you're looking for when it comes to your bets each day?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it for me, it definitely, it's good to have like some good projections in your corner one to always kind of check out, to compare to see what the models are liking. But I mean, if you're just kind of like a regular bettor, I mean, using Baseball Savant and all the free data that is available thanks to the MLB, it would probably be your first step. There's a lot of great information, even in like the simplest form, on kind of figuring out what pitchers, you know, might have a good ERA, but maybe compare that to their expected ERA and some of these other advanced stats, and try to, you know, kind of figure out maybe these stats that show up in the ESPN box score. Maybe some of these are making guys look a lot better than they are, right? And maybe some of these are making guys look a lot worse than they are. And in a lot of major sports, you don't get like that many easy regression opportunities to take advantage of. Baseball is a long season. People make a lot of changes within the season. Guys go on hot streaks, you know, where they're seeing the field well. Like, taking in all those different factors into account is big for me. Like you said, I'm a big player prop bettor. So I think for me, one thing that's given me a big advantage over these last couple of years is really diving into the pitch splits. So like what guys really rely on the fastball, what guys really rely on the curveball. And then maybe let's say you do have a great fastball, but your curveball is getting hit at, you know, 300, and you got a guy on the other team that's absolutely crushing the curveball this season. Like, kind of diving in to these pitch splits and seeing which guys are attacking certain pitches. Because when you dive into the data, I mean, it tells you a lot of the kind of common sense things, like rookies, you know, young guys tend to struggle with the off speed more. Veterans are more willing to sacrifice power for singles and doubles. You pick up on a lot of stuff like that, so you don't have to be as entrenched in the data. But I would say like Baseball Savant, pitch splits, kind of checking out what guys specialize in and what guys are weak in, and then kind of cross-referencing that with the other team and seeing who can take advantage of that weakness.
Beautiful. Steuart Durst joining us past the prop podcast, Monotone Football, for those plays, as Dustin mentioned on Twitter. By the way, he's in the DMV. Ovechkin got another one, boys. Alex Ovechkin right now, the Caps up 2-1 at Boston. What is that? He's got to be 4 or 5 behind Gretzky at this point, closing towards the end of the season. So that's a big look there. The torpedo bats. I haven't got caught up in it as much as others. I know Ellie De La Cruz went off last night. Are you adjusting your handicap because of these bats?
No, not really. I mean, I will say I think the Yankees guys are a little bit more impactful because they trained with it and they had it kind of custom designed based on their swing patterns. Their analytics team helped them with that. It's kind of like the tush push in the NFL where one team is a little early and then everyone else is jumping on board last minute. You see like the Bills tush push in the playoffs. It wasn't any good, right? So I don't know. Maybe some of these other guys are just trying to jump on the bandwagon, catch on that fire. But for me personally, I think we need to see a little bit more data. I think we need to not jump to conclusions as quick. I mean, if you saw that first Yankee series, look at the pitchers they hit all those homers off. It wasn't like they were knocking down the best guys in the league. So I will say, though, in a competitive sport played at the highest level, small edges do have a big impact. So this could be giving guys like small edges, and I think that's something you should like monitor. But I'm not like adjusting handicaps. I'm not going out of my way to bet on the torpedo guys, especially when like sports books are creating whole sections to advertise them right now. If I'm aware of it, they're aware of it as well and pricing it in on the props.
How about the Dodgers? With all your numbers that you have, from just a perspective that can help us understand how good this Dodgers team is, when you look at what they're capable of doing, they're undefeated to start the year. Remember, they started earlier in Japan, and they're dominating the Braves, who have their own issues right now in this series to start. But when you look at this Dodgers team as a whole, what are your expectations win-wise? Because Patrick and I keep wondering, are they going to break the 116 record by the Mariners? Because it feels like the only way they don't is if they just don't want to down the stretch.
Yeah, and I mean, they could get they're an analytics savvy team, so they could even be a little smart with resting some of the guys later in the year. It's kind of crazy to even say that in baseball. I will say, I'm glad you brought it up. I think Dodgers money line every night is one of those things that you'd expect like the worst person in your group chat to say, right? Like just lock it in, like trust me. It's one of those things where I feel like people almost overthink. I actually do think like unironically Dodgers money line every night isn't like a bad strategy. Like for me personally, you're finding it in kind of like even last night it was minus 175. I thought that was pretty crazy. Given Glasnow on the mound right there. I mean, like last year at the end of the year, it was like 295, 280, 250. I would be playing it until it gets to that range. And then as someone that bets a lot of sports, I'm pretty comfortable like parlaying it with other sports as well, just so I kind of have that the better odds one. Like I'm a big UFC guy. So normally there'll be a UFC guy that I feel very good about in the minus 300 range. So for that whole week, I'll essentially just be attaching Dodgers money line to the UFC guy that I like in kind of smaller bets. And that way I know I'm going to be watching the fights. I can probably live hedge out and still make money no matter what. But that's kind of how I've been going about it so far. There are probably smarter ways to do so. Tonight will be one of the few nights of the season that I will not be betting Dodgers money line though. Chris Sale on the other side is one thing. He's fantastic. But then too, Dustin May kind of being a complete unknown on the mound for them is enough to kind of keep me away and not pull the trigger at minus 135. But I will be there pretty much every single day. I'm not going to lie.
Our buddy Steuart Durst joining us. Boys, the Grizzlies are getting pummeled at home tonight by the Warriors, 45-32 at the end of one. They got beat by Boston last night. They're the 5 seed in the West, and they just fired their coach. Obviously, drama in that locker room. The West right now, Steuart, is wild. I don't know if you two watched it last night, but Houston, who's the 2 seed in the West, took on the Lakers last night, and Houston got a good game from everybody. You know, Thompson was good, Şengün was good, Van Vliet, but Luka's the difference. Like and Luka wasn't even shooting well last night, Steuart, but he just controlled the game. Played 38 minutes. LeBron can take a back seat. Like, the Lakers are starting to become very interesting right now.
Yeah, no, that's one of the teams I've been a little bit off on. I mean, I even came on here after that trade and said that I would be more willing to bet the Dallas to win it all than Lakers, right after it happened because it was twice the price. But I've definitely been proven a little bit wrong. I think anyone that kind of had those what are Luka and LeBron going to do next to each other concerns have been kind of addressed pretty quickly. I don't think that's going to be much of a problem going forward. I think the biggest thing for the Lakers is just like, you obviously have these fantastic players, but the depth is a concern. And like, how are you going to handle like really good bigs on the other side? Because LeBron does play fantastic defense for his age, but you really don't want him guarding the opposing big for 40 minutes, like grinding it down, especially in like a Jokic like matchup, which is going to be hard to avoid. Like, is Jackson Hayes going to have to play 28 minutes a game, or are you going to put Jared Vanderbilt out there, who's only 6'9", but a fantastic scrappy defender, DFS, another undersized guy? Like, I'm kind of worried how they handle the bigs. That's kind of the question mark left.
Well, speaking of Jokic, just where do you stand with Denver right now? Maybe we've been spoiled with the way they've looked over the last few years, but they're 16 games back of Oklahoma City. They're having a great year, 47-28. Jokic is having his greatest year of all time. Obviously, there's depth concerns, but do you believe Denver's good enough when the postseason comes around to take down a team like Oklahoma City? Or do you believe maybe some of the issues we've seen of them of late in the second half may kind of be an issue in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, they're an interesting team. They're a team I've kind of sworn off from betting just because they're a team that I feel like consistently looks really appealing on like the money line against the spread. And then, like you said, they haven't really been as impressive in the regular season. For me, I think the playoffs, one thing that's really important is you kind of have to adjust on the fly. Same with March Madness, and kind of make snap decisions. Like, how does the team look? Is the momentum there? I think they're going to be a team that like I'm definitely watching really closely for those first couple games of the series, and then those first couple games kind of leading up to the playoffs, because I think if we see a fully locked in team that kind of remembers what it's been like to dominate, like they're comfortable, right? We got a lot of new contenders, some Rockets, some Grizzlies, a lot of new blood in the playoff race. These guys have been here every single year. So for me personally, it's going to be really hard to count out the Nuggets. I'll still probably be higher on them than consensus, I think, but I think they're a team you need to watch really closely when playoff times come, because I think if they look as comfortable as ever, those prices are going to kind of fall through the roof, and you're not going to get a good price anymore.
Yeah, and Stu, Denver's laying 2 tonight against Minnesota. Totals 229.5. I know you got a couple player props this one. What are we going to do from that perspective?
Yeah, I mean, half the Denver lineup got ruled out as well, so it's looking like it's going to be kind of an uglier game tonight. For me personally, I do like some role players. If you guys weren't paying attention the other day, Naz Reid, Isaiah Stewart, Dante DiVincenzo, big brawl that's led to a suspension. So we're going to see no Dante DiVincenzo. We're going to see no Naz Reid. There are two guys that I think are going to take a big step up in minutes. One is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I took him to have one steal. It's minus 150, so you're paying a little bit of juice on the prop, but it's one that I would have priced in like the minus 225 range. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a rangy, great wing defender. He's honestly one of the most underrated defenders in the league. He's already averaging a steal per game against Denver so far this year, even in more limited minutes. Now he's going to see an increase of minutes because obviously no DiVincenzo. There's going to be a lack of depth in that guard room. And I think Walker Alexander's probably pretty good for most of his props. I think threes should be good. I think points as well. Like, he's a very underrated role player, but what he does best in my mind is defend. He's a fantastic defender. And while Denver is a fantastic passing team, when you make that many passes, you're just bound to turn it over more. So they don't actually rate super poorly in the steals categories because they do still turn it over a decent amount. And hey, Russ off the bench never hurt as well with that, right? That guy's put up a couple quadruple doubles in his day. So I do like that spot. The other one, you might have to look this guy up. We're going to Jalen Clark. Not a guy that I
did have to look him up, Stu. Full disclosure, didn't know who he was.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't even know if he's actually been lined like so far this year. I haven't really seen it too often. But what happens is the Timberwolves have no depth. This has been a problem for years. They had that bald point guard McLaughlin for the last like 4 years that would come off the bench and soak up all the minutes. They just drafted Clark. He's only playing kind of like 14 minutes off the bench a game, and he's still averaging around 4 to 5 points. Right now, you can get his 4.5 points in market in one book and then 5.5 on the rest of market. I think both of those are good plays because he's probably going to be shooting threes, but it's the same thing. Nickeil Walker-Alexander gets the biggest boost in minutes right there, but obviously Clark is going to be kind of second in line, and a guy going from 12 minutes a game, scoring about 4 or 5 points a game, to then 20 minutes per game, I don't think they've really adjusted his line enough in the meantime. So a little bit of an under the radar prop, but I don't actually think it hurts that the Nuggets have ruled out some starters either. I think it could be kind of an ugly game where you see a lot of random players have pretty solid performances.
That's exactly what we expect from our guy, Steuart Durst. Players I've never heard of, but hey, cash, money, all be green, people. Pass the prop, the podcast, Monotone Football on Twitter. Stu, great job, buddy. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Looking forward to it, guys. Let's cash.
Let's cash indeed. You know what? Somebody get Steve Jobs on the phone. This MacBook freaking Air, it crashes every second. And I went to ship out my computer today, big guy. We have a company computer, but mine got janked because of DraftKings or whatever the old relationship was. So I had to go to UPS today, spend my hard-earned money, and ship it to Vegas. Now I got to wait for it to get wiped and come back. So I'm just raw dogging 3 hours with nothing.
Yeah, but like at the same point in time, don't you feel a little liberated? Don't you feel a little bit more free that you're not tied down to the computer? You can do everything on the computer that you want to do on your cell phone.
I mean, it's kind of factual. By the way, White Sox just played it a run, bottom 4, 2-0 over the Twins. They got a runner on third. I need that runner to score because that's over 2.5 team total.
Are we legit White Sox fans? Because I think they're gonna be priced like this all year long. And while they stink, don't get it twisted. There's going to be windows where a couple of these young guys on the mound who can do a good job. This kid's, I think it's Shane Smith tonight. I think that's the name of a country singer too. Yeah, Shane Smith, who's pretty good in the minors. I mean, if they get solid pitching, the lineup is a little bit better than it was last year. Like they're actual major leaguers. I don't know. There's going to be spots where we're going to bet on them.
Well, the way the Twins have been pitching, it may as well be Morgan Wallen.
Running out.
Am I right? We'll come back with some baseball plays, and I see Samich down in the corner ready to go. Samo, back from Costa Rica. If I was in Costa Rica, I would have went to a Saprissa soccer match. It'd make your head spin.
If you were in Costa Rica last week, you wouldn't be here because you would have just stayed.
Cartels, baby. I want to get mixed up in the drug trade. I want to have a little fun. Life's running out. We're back, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Daily newsletter. You can find Samo. You can find Brent Musburger. You can find free plays. Just go to vsin.com/newsletter. Bill A.D. just grinding in the basement there at Circa. Shoots it out. Email. First thing in the morning, you wake up. Oh, my gosh, let me grab a cup of coffee. The big guy, of course. You can find it over at vsin.com/newsletter. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher. Nia Hardman back in New York City. Ryan Smith, of course, doing a great job. Great guy, good energy, running our YouTube at VSiN Live in Vegas. Curveball, Samich is there. Let's bring him in now. Why not? Mike Samich, VSiN host, professional handicapper, Ready, Set, Bet, also has the Road to the Kentucky Derby. I just hosted the show, and now I can't think of what the name of the show is, Samo.
I think that's it. Is it the Road to the Kentucky
Derby?
No,
there's a first name, and then it's the Road to Kentucky Derby, Samo. What is it?
It's a tough one to remember. It's VSiN at the track. Road to Kentucky
That's
Derby.
what I meant. VSiN at the track. And, well, it was a big weekend and even a bigger weekend coming up with the Santa Anita Derby. Let's just do this before we get to the top of the hour. We had the Arkansas Derby and the Florida Derby over the weekend. I know you were on vacation, but horse racing never sleeps for Samo. Did you take anything from those two races?
I was a little bummed in both of them because I had horses that had yet to run in a prep that I really wanted to see do well. Cornucopian was in the Arkansas Derby. He just got blitzed. If you're not a horse racing person, you're supposed to go about 12 seconds for every furlong. So that would be 48 seconds to the half-mile point. Cornucopian just got in an absolute battle with a horse named Speed King up top, and they ended up going 44 seconds. So 4 seconds faster than you're supposed to for that first half mile. The two of them gassed out. A horse named Sandman came from dead last, able to win the race. Happy that Sandman won because I want no part of him in the Derby, but bummed we're not going to see Cornucopian be able to get there because of the short run-up in the prep season that he had to the Derby. And then over in the Florida Derby, Disruptor missed the break, and that was it for his Kentucky Derby trail because he's another horse who had one shot to try and make that Kentucky Derby. He's not going to make it because of that poor start. A horse named Tappan Street ended up winning that race. I thought Sovereignty actually ran pretty well considering how everything went for him. He was a little more forwardly placed than I expected him to be, so he didn't have that same kick we saw late. That'll be interesting from a tactical perspective when we get into the Kentucky Derby. But I think Tappan Street, a real threat in the Kentucky Derby. I think Sovereignty still a threat in the Kentucky Derby. And I think Sandman, the winner of the Arkansas Derby, is a horse you can throw out and essentially becomes a takeout reducer for the rest of the field.
Yeah, Sandman is the son of Tappet, who's the greatest sire of the last, 15 years. But his sons are crazy. Mm-hmm. And he was acting wild down the stretch. Of course, Sandman going to be a toss in the Kentucky Derby. Just quickly, VSiN at the Tracks, the Road to the Kentucky Derby. It airs live every Friday, 11:15 West, 2:15 East at VSiN Live on YouTube. So make sure you go there. Aaron Halterman, of course, Mike Samich. To me, I log in and watch. Like, I'm into it, and then it re-airs on Saturday, VSiN proper, at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure you check that out. It's the best horse racing show leading up to the Kentucky Derby on the planet. And the big guy knows it because he was watching this past week.
Yeah, 32 days out from the Derby. So, Mike, I'm wondering, how many horses do you have circled where you're thinking, if this one's in, that's one that I want to use? Like, where are you at when it comes to prep 32 days out from this race?
2 in pen. Right now, there are 2 in pen for me, and that is Journalism and Sovereignty. I'll be using both of those horses in the Derby. Journalism right now would be my favorite. A lot in pencil right now. Horse like Tappan Street, one that I want to see how he works up to the Derby to decide what I want to do with him. A horse like Barnes, another one that I think is very interesting working up the Kentucky Derby. Citizen Bull's going to be back in the Santa Anita Derby. We'll see how he does against specifically Journalism. He could end up making the list. And then we have the Wood and the Bluegrass as well this weekend. So 3 major Kentucky Derby preps. We could see how things shuffled, how the deck gets shuffled again this weekend moving into next week, because 2 of my top 5 horses not going to be on there this weekend because they're not going to qualify for the Kentucky Derby, which also makes the Preakness really interesting if we end up getting a couple of those at Pimlico a couple weeks after the Derby.
Look, and there's a reason to watch VSiN at the Tracks on Friday because this crop of horses is legit. Mm-hmm. And Journalism could be a freaking wagon. Shout to McCarthy, the trainer. Dustin knows it. There's a lot of good horses, and there's a lot of good races coming up this weekend. If I were to watch one VSiN at the Track, it would be this Friday because you got the Santa Anita, you got the Wood, you got a lot of races coming up, and you got Samo and Halterman, part of the family. Speaking of which, A little bit of a dud for the Blues in the first period against my Red Wings. A little zippy first intermission. We could discuss that.
Drastically outplayed them, drastically outshot them. We got this. Don't worry.
Yeah,
10 in a row, baby.
You like to see it laying a goal and a half. Samich is coming back. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Oh, you got?
To all of the night's action, you're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Naya going deep into her bag with that bumper coming back. We welcome you back. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson live at the SiriusXM studios. Wynn property there in Las Vegas. A gorgeous studio, gorgeous property. Make sure you stop by and say hello. I'm Patrick Meagher, live from Los Angeles. Mentioned Naya back in New York City. And we are covered in Las Vegas with Ryan Smith at VSiN Live on YouTube. Back fresh as a daisy from vacation in Costa Rica with the girls. That is Mike Samich, professional handicapper. I mentioned VSiN at the tracks on Fridays, 11:15 East. 11:15 West, 2:15 East at VSiN Live, and then 8 a.m. proper on VSiN. Of course, you can find it all over the place. Host at VSiN as well. Let's start here because we were just having a conversation in baseball betting, and you had a week last week. It's one of those where Samich said everything comes up daisies. Everything, you just hit everything. And baseball betting is something you're very good at. Let's talk some general tips. And I think a good way to frame this would be, let's start with your under 3.5 today, Chicago and Minnesota, and why you played it.
Well, first off, just a general rule for me. if I'm playing unders, I am generally playing them because I really like the starting pitcher. So my handicap starts with who is on the mound. So I'll talk a lot about first 5 bets. We've talked about this last year, where if I'm putting the majority of my time into the starting pitchers, I don't want to deal with innings 6, 7, 8, and 9 because that's bullpens. I don't know who's going to come in, if they're going to go righty lefty, if we're going to get to a closer, who we're going to use to set up that closer. All of that is unknown. And when I'm betting, I'm looking for having the most known quantities as possible. And so that means I'm generally going to be targeting first 5s. And I especially like first 5 unders because I assume that both of the starters are going to pitch well. And in this case, specifically with this Twins White Sox game, I'm a big weather proponent in baseball as well. If you look at, there's a lot of different places you can go and find weather reports for baseball games that I think are very, very good free resources out there. And if you look at the game today specifically, mid to low 40s in Chicago, 20-mile-per-hour winds blowing in with a chance of rain. So you got heavy air, wind blowing in, 2 teams that really don't like to hit the baseball anyway. Twins can't score, and the White Sox lineup's not very good. The under 4 was available. I took it down to 3.5 and took plus money on it. But I love looking for those type of scenarios where the team, the weather, and the pitching all match up to play a specific angle in baseball. And one of the things I love about betting baseball, unlike the NFL, this is 162 games for each one of these teams. You're going to get a plethora of data on them, and you're also going to get a bunch of opportunities to play the next day. It's not a sport where you have to feel like you're forcing bets week in and week out because the slate is so small. This is a massive slate. This is a massive long-term season. I shorten my units in baseball, but I'll play a few games a day, 3, 4, 5 games a day, to be able to kind of create the same overall handle as I have in other sports, but not nearly as much risk on in any single game because of the variance you get as well.
And you had the under today. I'm just curious, do you find you're betting more unders than overs when you look at like your card at the end of the week and the results, you know, they go up and down. But in other sports, it feels like we're always scared to bet overs in other sports that are like high scoring, like basketball and football. But with baseball, unders do feel more normal. Where do you tend to lean, unders, overs?
Last year, I was about 65% under, 35% over. And that's for full game and first 5 when you include both of those together. So I was heavily shaded toward the unders. And I think one of the reasons for that, especially early in the season, like right now, I think I'm around 85% under, 15% over. I think pitchers have the advantage out of spring training. If I'm specifically betting first 5, you'd like the full game unders early, you're not going to get 8, 9 inning starts out of these starters. So you're going to have a lot more bullpen action. That wants me to play unders more, especially early. And then the weather, like we don't have any of these stadiums where, like Cincinnati, great hitters ballpark. The weather's not hot yet. The air isn't thin. You're not seeing the ball fly like you will later in the year. And so, these are depressed totals right now, but they're depressed for a reason. You have a lot more difficult conditions to hit the baseball right now. And so I will lean toward the under. The other thing, you don't have a lot of like 7th and 8th starters in the majors yet. We will by summertime when you have injuries and these rotations get riddled. All of a sudden, you're going to have these younger pitchers being called up, and these guys we've seen fail year after year, all of a sudden are the 4 starter somewhere, right? And that gives you more opportunities to attack overs as well. That being said, I mean, the game I like the most today is still on the board, and it is a game where if I was going to play a total, I would take it to the over, and that would be the game in like Sacramento, the Athletic game taking on the Cubs.
The A's played at 18 in the opener in San Francisco, in West Sacramento last night. Let's walk through this. Let's do this. Mind of a baseball handicapper. You're looking at a game last night where literally the Cubs played at 18 runs. That was the opener in Sacramento for the A's. It's a bandbox. It's a small little park. You turn around again today. You've got the Cubs and Justin Steele as $1.35 favorites against the A's, throwing Severino plus 115 and a total at 8. Walk us through your thought process.
Well, I like the Cubs more. So I'm on the Cubs first 5 minus the half run plus 110. I'm on the Cubs for full game minus 130 here. I don't think people are fully understanding this ballpark. I know there was a lot of talk about it before the season started, but this is a Pacific Coast League minor league stadium where the baseball flies everywhere. Sacramento is at altitude, not as high as Coors Field, but still very much at altitude. And the setup here is beautiful as well because you have a Cubs team that people kind of got down on a little bit for some reason when they lost twice to the Dodgers. And then you have this Athletics team that's coming from Seattle where they played 4 straight unders, specifically first 5 unders. They're playing a team in Seattle that can't hit the baseball in a pitcher's ballpark. It just sets up perfectly to then go against that trend, take the over in these games here in Sacramento because you get a positive ballpark switch from the A's perspective. and you do have, it's like Severino, people are talking about, oh, he's going to have a good year. Let's have him play someone besides the Mariners, and let's have him pitch somewhere besides Seattle before we start saying, yeah, he's going to be great. It just sets up really well for the Cubs as well, because Steele, a ground ball pitcher, and the wind's blowing out tonight, 10 miles to left center. So everything kind of sets up well for the Cubs to be able to hit multiple homers. I took Tucker plus 406, I believe it was, to hit a home run in the game as well for the Cubs. He should be able to pull the ball and get it up in that wind. So I love the Cubs tonight. And this is one where I do think so many things have gone against the over with Seattle, and with that Seattle and that Athletics series specifically, that I then want to take the ballpark switch. We're seeing the Athletics throw from up north and come down to Sacramento, and I want to play overs in that park, specifically with the switching of the ballpark.
Yeah, it feels like, Samich, everyone's ignoring that Severino great against Seattle. You mentioned the lineup stinks, but he had 4 walks in the game. And then that ballpark, Carson Kelly is a career 225 hitter, and he hit for the cycle last night. I can't believe the total's at 8. Like, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to bet it here. Make sure, like, yesterday wasn't like just one outlier of a game.
Oh, you don't know what he's talking about. I'm just put a dime on over 8. You're going to wait? What are you waiting for? Literally, we just painted a picture why over 8's the play, and you're sitting there going to wait? You're on the air. Put your life on the line, big guy. Wake up.
Here's the problem with waiting, Dustin. If you wait and it goes 20 again tonight and then goes 15 tomorrow, you're not getting anything like 10 in that stadium for the rest of the year.
I know, but then I'm also banking on the Athletics hitting. That's the problem, is I don't know if that bottom of the lineup against Steele is going to hit tonight. You have an ace on the mound. That's the problem.
Cubs team total over 3.5.
Or are you not part of the family?
I am part of the family. I am jumping in. I really want to know, because look, the thing I'm really hesitant about getting into is the home run props, because I feel like it's a bit like crack. It feels really, really good when it's going right, and then when it's not, it feels really, really bad. And I've started dabbling with the total bases. People on crack, they love it. They're chasing that high all day.
Yes, but the point is you've never done it, so you don't even know what you're talking about.
I've seen what happens to people on crack, and there's a reason why they can't stop doing it, okay? And these home run props are tantalizing. You went with Kyle Tucker tonight. What's it take for you to actually sit there and go, all right, this is the guy I'm locking in for a home run bet?
I am looking for the setup to be perfect for me, right? I mentioned weather already. I want at least a 10-mile-per-hour wind blowing out in any game that I'm going to play a home run prop in. I'm going to specifically try and take advantage of a side of the plate that has an advantage in those stadiums. I played two Diamondbacks today for home runs. I played Carroll and Naylor, both to hit a home run. They're both lefties. You got the short porch with a 10-mile-per-hour wind blowing out in Yankee Stadium. So you have those specific advantages where you have a plus ballpark with a minus pitcher and a plus win situation. And if you're going to play home run props, I cannot stress this enough. We talk about shopping around, how important price is. You see 50 to 60 cent differences at different books for home run props. You have to shop home run props around, because like Kyle Tucker in one book I saw was plus 345. And I was able to get him at plus 407. Like, that is a massive difference long term when you're talking about 50 cents on a home run prop. So you got to shop it around. But to me, the big thing here is positive ballpark, positive pitching matchup, and you want the wind blowing out. If you want one more for tonight, that's a huge number. Freddie Freeman, plus 770 to hit a home run tonight. He's already got one off sale in his career in 10 at-bats. The wind's blowing out to left field again at Dodger Stadium. So another positive blowing out to right field at Dodger Stadium. So a positive situation for lefty batters. So things line up well there for Freddie Freeman as well. So I took him to hit home run tonight as well in that Dodgers-Braves game.
Did either of you do anything with Tigers, Mariners, or Braves, Dodgers? Dustin, we'll start with you. Proper on the game?
No, but I am really tempted to take that plus money with Chris Sale. The Braves have to win at some point here. I don't know how many times you're going to get the reigning Cy Young Award winner at a plus price. It's plus 110 right now. I mean, last year he was good against the Dodgers in September, 6 innings, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts. Dustin May's first start since 2023. It feels like they're trying to bait us into taking the Atlanta, and I may fall for the bait here.
I actually agree with that.
I don't want to touch that game because I agree with the handicap, but I have the prices correct. So it's hard for me when I make the Dodgers. I made a minus 137 favorites, plus 118 the other way. So it's basically what I think the game should be, which makes it very, very difficult for me to try and get in on it. The Tigers-Mariners game, I mean, you're going to make fun of me because, death taxes and Mike Somich likes first 5 unders. I kind of like the first 5 under in that spot. It's you can get 4 minus 120, or you can get 3.5 plus 105. Look, you've got a very good starter in Gilbert on the mound for Seattle. Mize is one of those touted prospects that has not lived up to it, but he's facing this Mariners lineup.
Mize to Patrick. Don't bring up Casey Mize to Patrick. Don't do it.
My Achilles
He's
heel.
supposed to be good. So
Yes,
I like
he is.
So if I was going to play anything,
been supposed to be good since I was 27 years old.
I don't know if it's that long, Patrick. Let's not,
It's been a minute.
I
It's
actually
been a
agree.
minute.
Yeah.
But it has been a minute. Under 4 first 5 for that one?
Mike, I think we're at a point with the Mariners. The offense is so bad. We might just blindly go first 5 unders on them for a very long time here.
When it's one of their 1 through 4s right now. They had a terrible guy, Harrison, last night. I think it was. That was the first time I did not play their Hancock. There it is. Yeah, where I did not play the first 5 under. But those 1 through 4 starters, when it's Gilbert, when it's Wu, those guys are solid, and the offense just can't hit. They just can't hit. And so if you have any talent on the other mound, yeah, I like those first 5 unders. The question is, are we going to start seeing 3.5 minus 110? Are we going to start seeing that type of number? And then it makes it a lot harder to bet it, right? At the 4 number, at 3.5 plus money, still interested. When it gets and that's what's going to happen, right? These books are going to adjust. They're going to say, okay, we've got to tick this down and tick this down until we find a point where people aren't just auto betting. And I expect that that's going to be when we get to 3.5 minus 110.
What about the game coming up at 9:40 on the East Coast, 6:40 out here, Guardians and Padres? I do have a player prop I like here, but curious what you think. Padres off to an absolute torrid start. They've looked awesome. Guardians are the Guardians, right? Just trying to do more with less from a lineup perspective. Right now, I'm seeing Allen and the Guardians plus 145, Michael King minus 175, total 7.5.
Yeah, I didn't play this one. If I did anything with it, I would be looking at a Padres team total. A really limited sample size, but Allen has given up a 308 average to this Padres team from an offensive perspective. So they've hit him pretty well in a limited number of sample size, just 13 at bats. So nothing crazy. Because the Padres possibly do not bat in the bottom of the 9th. If I want a team total, I'm looking for a first half team total. I want all 5 of those innings versus possibly getting 8 of 9 possible innings. And with that 7.5 number, you probably can get like a first half 2 over on the Padres. Maybe it's a 2.5 number and you're going to get plus money on it. So that would be my look if I was going to take anything in that Padres and Guardians game late.
All right, a hand up. I got to apologize. Mike Somich was right. I have to come clean. So for about a year now, Somich has been yelling at me, stop betting full games on all these juicy underdogs I like. Just bet the first 5. He said it in the open when we had him on here. Keep the bullpens out of these games. And I look up, and the Twins have tied it up with the White Sox, and they have the bases loaded. I have plus 143 on the White Sox, and just like clockwork, I have to admit that Somich was right, and I was wrong.
Well, the over is going to hit now too. Total in that game was 7.5, and it's 3-3, and the first 5 under got home at 3.5 or 4, depending on what you got it at. So again, it's, to me, if you're playing, if you are like me, and if you're not, that's fine. If you're handicapping the bullpens, what the usage was over the last 5 days, who you're going to see come out of that pen first, and whether or not you like them or dislike them, go ahead, play the full games. Totally get that. But man, if you're playing, if you're handicapping like I am, and you're focused on these starting pitchers, the first 5 creates a lot less variance long term.
Hey, that was very not used to you being so what do you say, conciliatory? Is that what the word?
Yeah, you know what it is? It hurt. It hurts, and I got to learn from it because I was already going, man, I lost a couple bets tonight. It's been good. Baseball's been good. Not quite Somich good, but it's been good so far. I was like, you know what? But the plus 143 on the White Sox, that makes up for one of those losses. I still end up in the positive there. Doesn't look like that's going to happen because Twins just played 2 more runs.
Oh, no.
Can I offer a contrarian play with Cleveland at San Diego? I think Michael King has been very good for the last few years, but he got lit up by the Braves, and I know I'm getting to the top of the 9th with the Guardians. It's 3.5 team total. I'm getting like plus 110 on the over. Anything, boys?
Guardians are better against righties than lefties. I I don't know what to make of King. I don't know if that was not real last year, because remember, that guy was a reliever for the Yankees for a couple of years, and he got a chance to start again with San Diego, and he figured it out in the second half. I think there's a chance he could get hit, but also he got roughed up by Atlanta. It's not like the Guardians offense is on par with the Braves. So I went Michael King over 5.5 strikeouts at plus 116, because he still had 3 strikeouts in less than 3 innings. So if we can get 5 or 6 out of him, I think he goes over that number.
If you want to look at the over, I would go over first 5 and the 4. If you're gonna like try and force one there, because then if your handicap is correct and King struggles, he's given up at least 2, maybe 3, maybe more in the first 5. And then you need 1 from a Padres offense, which should be able to get it against Allen. So if I was looking, if that's my handicap, I go first 5 over 4 versus team total over 3.5 for the Guardians.
Done. That was quick. You convinced me very quickly. Find somebody that loves his wife and child in Costa Rica in first 5s as much as Mike Samich, and you will find true love. I mean, it's unbelievable how much my man loves the first 5s. All right, that's a little baseball talk. Mike Samich joining us here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let's transition. Before we get to the Final Four, NHL style, Ovi got another one. Ovi might catch the great one this year. It may come down to the final game of the year.
I mean, he's scoring almost every game now. He's got 38 this season. The dude's like 42 years old. It's absolutely crazy that he's able to score this many goals at this age. He's 4 short of Gretzky right now? Yeah, he totally has a shot at getting there. I mean, because he's got 9 games left. So you need 1 every other game for Ovi to possibly get there. Yeah, it is 100% in play this season. He also hasn't had like a hat trick in a minute. He can put 3 in the net real fast in one game as well, which would make this very interesting.
It's insane. He's the greatest player in the DMV history, any sport. Can you argue it? Wes Unseld?
No, I don't think there's a close second. I'm trying to think. Bernard King? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like,
I don't think you could argue it.
Yeah, longevity you definitely can't. I mean, maybe
it's just like hockey, so you don't really. I mean, he's about to pass Wayne Gretzky as all-time goal scorer.
Yeah, no, there isn't a close second. They're gonna say like John Riggins. What are we gonna do
here? Yeah. Okay. Big picture hockey. Your Blues have been on a freaking heater, and that's gonna be part of the family. Come postseason time, the boys are gonna be buzzing. Anything else that stands out hockey-wise before we get to the basketball?
Not crazy right now. I mean, I want to shop futures. We talked about Colorado. If you can still find them in that 12-1 range out there, I think they're worthwhile playing into a future. If you can find a good price on the Western Conference, anything in the, let's call it minus 120 range to win the cup, I think that is a good price. I think the West will be favored over the East almost no matter who makes it from the West. Hopefully everyone had their Blues futures in. They were as high as plus 255 to make the playoffs. They're now minus 1,000 basically. They might take over the first wild card spot there. So hopefully everyone's on that. So right now there's not a lot. I mean, it's basically day by day that I'm playing hockey right now, not looking over at the futures market too much, just because we are so close to the playoffs and you kind of know what's going to happen from a matchup perspective. And I don't think there is any team that has a overly favorable draw compared to their price.
Okay. Let's transition, boys, over to Saturday, Alamo Dome, Final Four. Before we get to the games, the tournament itself, has anything stood out betting-wise as a theme for you, Mike?
Well, I mean, the favorites, right? I mean, that's the one that everyone's talking about. This has just been a very, very chalky tournament. If you look over at Ken Palm's ratings, and people have talked about this all over the place. This isn't breaking news. Top 4 seeds were the best top 4 seeds we've seen in the 38 years since we went to 64 teams. So not, I'm surprised all 4 are there, but if you're going to see a year where you saw 4 of them, this was a very likely year to see that. Matchups have been as important as ever in these tournaments, and stylistically what teams want to do has kind of created some of the outcomes. And we've seen the 4 number 1 seeds have advantages stylistically in a lot of these games. If you look at Duke specifically, can you take on Arizona and then take on Alabama? They're just a better version of both of those 2 teams. They're better offensively, and they can play the style that they want to play. If you look at Houston, Tennessee, look, Houston's a better version of Tennessee, right? They're better at defense. They're better at offense. They both want to be slow. And so it gives big advantages to them. That Duke-Houston game, I think, is going to be very, very interesting. You've got Houston who's going to want to slow it down. I don't think that's a problem for Duke. but this number is starting to get out. Like I made Duke about a 3.8, 3.9 point favorite in the game. And now we're pushed out to plus 5.5 in some places where I'm almost to the point where even though I think Duke is the better team and my eyes tell me I should bet Duke, the price is starting to say you kind of have to bet Houston here, especially if you get out to 6.5 by game time.
How about that total? I mean, just so significantly lower than the other game, 136.5 versus 159 and a hook for Florida and Auburn. And I get it because Houston known as a defensive team, but Duke's also elite defensively. The difference is Houston this year can score. Like they have an offense. Duke can get buckets, and they may want to go up and down the court, especially if they're trading shots. Do you think that total's a little low, Mike?
The full game one I think is right around accurate. I actually would go to the first half under if I'm playing anything from a total perspective. I agree with you, Dustin. Like Duke wants to go up and down, but Duke also is very good from a half court perspective. They're very good at half court defense. They are efficient on the offensive side. We're in the half court sets, and Houston is going to impose their will as much as they can from a pace perspective. They are not going to get out and run and try and get easy buckets unless they fall behind by double digits in this game, which means that they're going to slow it down and slow it down and slow it down. And then it's, hey, how good can Houston execute against a very good half-court Duke defense? There's a chance they struggle. Yes, this is a better Houston team than what we have seen in the past. They're still not an elite offensive team compared to what else we have left in this tournament. It's still their weakness if you look at them on paper versus anybody else in the tournament. And so if anything here, I'm looking at the under first half for this Duke-Houston game. I do think you could see more pace in the second half, specifically if Duke is ahead.
I will say this. I was texting with Thomas Gable Borgata. He runs the Race and Sportsbook on Sunday, just because I wanted to see what they were doing with Michigan State, Auburn, and Tennessee, Houston. And Gable and I was like, my vibe is unders on both. Michigan State, Auburn, Tennessee, Houston. He's like, I love the unders on both, and they're betting them all over here at the counter. So they bet Michigan State, Auburn over 147.5, lands 134, not even close. They bet Tennessee, Houston over 126.5, landed 119. So not overly close there either. I wonder if that continues. What's the total on Houston Duke right now, Dustin?
136.5.
Do either of you have an opinion there?
My thought is I think over, just because I do think there's going to come a point in the game where Duke potentially dictates the pace. Houston's going to have to respond. They do have guys who can shoot. So that's why my thought is the over there.
Yeah, I would be first half under if anything at 63.5. And then I want to see what this total gets to. I want to see if we tick up during the week. And if we get to that 138, 139 range, I'm probably under for the full game.
The Caps just got another goal, so I'm just seeing if it was
not Ovechkin.
It was Stromer, Dylan Strome. Okay, so
they're
Ovechkin.
the second shot, Samich. By the way, sorry, they're the second shot in the East right now. Like, where do you see them as a playoff team? Because this is a bit of a surprise year for Washington.
Oh, huge surprise!
If that number feels short, that number doesn't feel right to me. It's not indicative of who they really are.
Yeah, I feel like there's two takeout reducers in the NHL this year. I think Washington's one of them. I don't think they can win the cup. I have no interest in them long term. They kind of equate to Vancouver last year, who was very good in the regular season, a surprise team, and was not able to make it happen in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to make a run. I think that if you want to look for a plus price in the first round to get upset, I think with the Washington Capitals are a very, very interesting one. The other one for me is out in the West. The Winnipeg Jets, I think, are vulnerable in the West, which is going to be considered a hot take here, considering they are one of the best plus-minus differential teams in the NHL. You've got Hellebuck, who is going to win. The Conn Smythe is the best goalie, but he's struggled in big games and in the playoffs. And if they face the Blues, I think the Blues are 100% live in that series. And then if they do win, they get the winner of Colorado-Dallas, who I think are the two best teams in the West. So I think it's going to be tough for the Jets, even though they are the other team competing for the President's Cup for the most points in the regular season, that is going to struggle as well. I think it's the 2-1 seeds that actually are the two most vulnerable teams in each conference.
Well, as long as the Blues aren't playing the Red Wings because they can't score against the Red
Come
Wings.
on. Why you gotta throw shade like that?
But Dustin brought up the Caps. Let's be clear. Nothing was expected from this Capitals team this year. Like, they're a mixture of old and young, like trying to get rid of contracts. They've gotten great goaltending,
and they've got a second-year head coach that's like relatively unknown. Ovechkin goes on a freaking heater. This has been a hell of a year. I was looking at the East. Like, the Senators sit atop the East. The Blue Jackets are good this year. The NHL is going to be in some trouble if Ottawa and Columbus is in the mix.
I mean,
like, that's some
do you know who,
non-sexy stuff there.
You know who wants that? Adam Silver. If he's facing a Cleveland Oklahoma City final, he's like, you know what? Let's let hockey have that as their Stanley Cup final. By the way, I'm sweating out. Diamondbacks money line at Yankee Stadium. Bases loaded for Naylor. 4-3 game. Yankees up. Diamondbacks have a chance to take the lead with one swing here. So getting sweaty over here. 1 out in the eighth.
I got
if they do.
I got D-backs money line as well, Dustin, and I got Naylor home run. How about we check both those boxes right here?
He just swung at ball 4. He just swung at ball 4 like a big donk. But
at least I appreciate.
No, it's three. I think it's I can't see. I think it's a 3-2.
Well, Samich wanted him to swing at ball 4 because he wants a home run.
You can't hit a homer if you're walking to first.
Let's see.
The factual.
I can't quite tell the count. I think it's a full count. I think.
All right. Diamondbacks, Yankees. 4-3.
Here's the pitch. About to come in, and so it wasn't ball 4. Never mind. It must have been 0-2. It's so small I can't see.
Not exactly Ernie Harwell over there.
I just got an eye exam done, but I haven't gotten the glasses that were
You have
ordered
glasses
for me.
on, and you're squinting through the glasses.
You know, I haven't gotten my eyes checked since COVID. Like, that was my first eye exam since COVID, so it's not been going well.
Are we interested in running back a little family bet from last year? How about a little Florida Panthers to win the East?
The Panthers are a wagon.
I mean, you don't have to go through you don't have to win the cup. You just have to get through the East, and you like Tampa's a tough first round matchup. But after that, it's the Leafs, and then the other side, it's really the Hurricanes, the only team I'm scared of out of the other division. And they had to get rid of offense because of the catastrophe they had at the trade deadline. The Panthers could make a nice little run, and then Kachuk's supposed to be back for round 1 now as well.
Naylor struck out.
Panthers. What happened?
He struck out. 2 outs, bases loaded. Who's up? Is this Suarez now? Trying to see the order.
2 outs now, too? That's not great.
2 outs, bases loaded, 1-run game. This bullpen's leaky for the Yankees. We've got Suarez up, who has hit a couple homers this year. So we could use a big fly here. He took a ball for ball 1.
We'll take a single.
That's 1-1 count now. 1-1 on Suarez.
I actually did. I bet the Panthers tonight no OT because they got waxed last night or Sunday by the Canadians. You know what that is? Revenge spot in Montreal. Up 2-1. Are we on our Panthers getting out of the East this year?
I mean, when you look through it, who's most likely going to be there? I'm trying to find a price right now, but I can't. But if you look through, okay, here you go, team futures. If you look through who else is in the conference, if they're not the favorite or the second choice, to me, that's a team that should be up there. It should be the Hurricanes and the Panthers as the 2 favorites in the East. And so if it's not sitting there right now, I mean, that to me is a great spot to get a price. Let's see if we can get. My sports books aren't loading as we're live here.
Can we figure out what Dustin's doing right now currently?
I'm zooming in on my phone camera to be able to see the count in the game.
If YouTube can see what Dustin's doing at VSiN Live on YouTube. He's at the SiriusXM studios at the Wynn. He's got glasses on, but he can't see the TV 2 feet in front of him. So,
and by the way, zooming in's not helping. Still think it's a 2-2 count.
40-year-old child wearing glasses that don't work. Like, dude, pull yourself together. You got a girlfriend now.
They work enough. Look, she had to buy me my first new pairs of underwear in like years. So that's where we're at in life at 40 years old. They just tried to put the game on the big TV for me. I saw a camera shot of the outfield, and then now I have a black screen. So I don't know what happened in this game.
Grand slam!
Shut up! Wait, did you hit your home run prop?
No, wrong guy. I will take it though. I will still take it, Granny. Yeah.
Suarez goes deep.
The Snakes hit a grand slam down a run, top of 8. They now lead 7-4 in the Bronx at the Yankees. If you're just joining us here, VSiN Live, that's wild, boys. In real time, you'll love to see it for the big guy. Now he see it because he can't see, but Samich told us. Can we just back up? Can we back up just a second? And can you just please tell me you were doing shtick that a girl you've been dating for like 6 months took you underwear shopping?
No, she didn't take me shopping. She showed up with packs of underwear and said, throw out the ones that have holes in them.
Man, she is a trooper. I mean, the fact that it got to the point where she's like, she had to do it just spontaneously to try and fix this situation. Like
the fact that she didn't see the holes and go ew and run the other way to J-Date is like insane.
They're super comfortable. They're perfectly worn in underwear. Now I have to wear the new ones and break them in. That's going to take years, and they're not going to be comfortable until they have holes in them.
I have to say, underwear technology has come pretty far, Dustin. Let me tell you, I'm someone who held on to underwear for a while. Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the underwear now is nicer. It is much more comfortable. You gotta give it a shot.
I'm gonna say something controversial that is gonna be soup. I haven't worn underwear in 20 years.
Oh,
what's the point? What is the point? I'm clean. I'm good.
No,
it's just too many layers. I'm free right now. I feel.
Do you ever wear jeans?
Myself.
Do you wear jeans?
Of course, I wear jeans.
Do you wash them every time you wear them?
Let me explain something. I am the most fastidious person you'll ever meet in your life. Listen, nobody's cleaner than your boy. And that's why I should be the one of the three that doesn't wear underwear.
No, you need to look yourself in the mirror, because if you're doing something that hygienically I think is disgusting, you've crossed quite a line, my friend.
Okay, now I gotta ask. I gotta ask, man. I know the last time I knew of you picking up a girl after a workout was after yoga. Do you wear underwear to yoga?
Negative.
Even with gym shorts?
Like,
no. Just free advertising out there.
Listen, it's just a thing. I'm not going to pretend like it's normal. I'm just saying it's been at least 20 years since I've even bought a pair. I don't even own underwear.
I mean, that just feels like one of your efficiency things that you talk about. I just don't want to think about having to put on underwear or buy underwear, so I don't wear it anymore.
I mean, it's one thing if it's like every now and then. But it's just like straight never is crazy to me, right?
I'm not even doing shtick. I'll tell you guys exactly. I don't like the feeling of extra layers. I just like to feel like Dustin said it. I like efficiency. I like just having one layer.
Yeah, I'm all for it too. But the reality is
Ryan said it's insanity. Why is it insane? I'm clean, people.
No, that layer is very important. The sweat that occurs in that area of your body is the worst sweat that you could possibly have, and you're just letting it leak all over your clothes every day.
There's no leaking.
Can we go back to leaking? Can we go back to the pause after when Dustin asked if you wash your pants after one wearing too?
I was trying to brush past that like a fastball on the inside part of the plate. Yeah. Anyway, you're lecturing me. You just said your girlfriend buy you underwear because you had holes.
Always bring it back to Dustin. The one time Patrick's doing something weird.
Dude, if it's been 20 years since you had a girl, you would think you would look at your underwear and say, I might have to replace these while I'm trying to impress her.
Yeah,
Come
but
on,
the other girls bailed on me way before they ever saw my underwear.
I mean, that is also a fair point. Like, you never had to worry about this before. Like, he was the only one who ever cared about it prior to the last couple of months.
Hey, that is so. As two guys that are taken, you will admit some of those single days when you just worried about nothing as far as hygiene or anything, like some YOLO days were fun. Admit it, boys.
I mean, I've been asked the question, are you going to shower today? A couple times now.
He's comfortable.
The no box spring life, right? No box spring, no headboard, just a mattress on the floor with a TV on a chair. Yeah, that was incredible.
Buddy, Samich, I have a new set of silverware. I have new plates and cups in my house because apparently the way I've been living for the last 10 years was not appropriate for an adult man. Or at least one that wanted to have a girlfriend.
I mean, I did get told once that going to Porta Subs is not shopping for the week. When I would go and get 3 Giants and just put them in the refrigerator.
Porta Subs underrated, by the way. All right, boys. It's been 37 minutes and I haven't taken a break. So that is not supposed to happen here on Mad Dog Sports Radio, so I will break. Samich, great to see you. Welcome back. Again, VSiN at the track. Road to the Kentucky Derby. Coming up Friday with Mike Samich, Aaron Halterman, RacingDudes.com. It's a tremendous broadcast. You can find it at VSiN Live. 11:15 East, 11:15 West, 2:15 East, Samich.
Yeah,
Anything
appreciate it.
else?
It's going to be a blast. 3 big-time preps this weekend. Looking forward to talking about that, talking through our top 5 best bets from the weekend. A little bit of everything there for VSiN at the track. So make sure you join us. And one of the beauties of it, too, since we are recording it to be live on Saturday, if you have questions, comments, you can fire them off in the chat on any horse you want. We talk during the breaks. So you'll actually hear Aaron and I going back and forth and answering questions in real time during the breaks as well. So make sure you join us over there at VSiN Live on YouTube, right where you can catch this show live on TV or live on YouTube as well.
I will say the actual chat was buzzing. Most of them like, "Where's Samich?" But it was buzzing. so make sure you join. When we come back, a big update on what Steph Curry is doing in Memphis. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, it's a party on a Tuesday. You've got Nia Hardman. You got your boy Jacob, that freak back in New York City, who, by the way, went to a strip club by himself in Astoria. Look it up, kids. It's shady. You got, of course, Ryan Smith clowning me for no underwear back in Las Vegas at VSiN Live. You got the whole crew, SiriusXM Studios at the Wynn, where the big guy is sitting. He just ate a beef stick. Pause. And now it's time to give you an update on what's happening with my guy Steph Curry. So the Warriors, the Grizz came back.
They did.
The Warriors were up big on the Grizz, and the Grizz, 5:41 to play in the third, are up 91-88. But the story in that game is there's 5:41 to play in the game, people, and a top 10 player of all time, and he very much is, Steph Curry, has 40 points. He's 10 of 13 from three.
And there's 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter. So,
by the way, he has 40 points, 7 boards, and 7 dimes.
And 4
5:39
steals.
to play.
4 steals. 4 steals.
All-time great.
I thought he's not a great defender. Isn't that what they say? He's not a great well, he's got 4 steals tonight. That's pretty good defense.
He's a 6'3" guard with 7 boards with 5:40 to play. Get the hell out of here. He's an all-time great.
Now,
he's got 43 points. He just hit another three-pointer.
Okay, but as someone who's on Brandon Pajemski over 14.5 points, can we please pass him the basketball here and let him knock down a few shots? Because I'd like to clear that.
Steph just tied it up at 9. Steph just tied it up at 91 with 4:51 to play. He has 43 points. He's 11 of 15 from 3, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals. If he play now, here's the good news. If you like stats, it's a tie ball game. He might play the whole fourth. He might end up with 60 and a triple-double.
It's very likely. The question is, we're going to go 60. Can he do better than 60? Can he score more than 17 points?
What's the outside? Hold on. What's the record for three-pointers in a game? It's got to be 16?
I bet he has it. Record for three-pointers in a game. It's 14, Klay Thompson.
Oh, well, he's going to eclipse that. He's 11 of 15 with 4:20 to play in the third. That's what he's doing. He's going for the all-time record.
And by the way, it's a tie game. Like, this is crazy. This
he's going to get the record.
What if we get overtime? What's he get? 70? 70
he's
going to
get it in regulation, and that's what he's doing. It's incredible. Steph Curry shutting up the doubters. And there are a plenty. Oh, and by the way, people were clowning me for no underwear. I'm going to come over the top. I don't wear deodorant.
Look, I appreciate that. It feels like your body's probably supposed to do that. But I've been 300 pounds for too long to not wear to take that risk and be the big smelly guy. For you, I don't know why. You never smell. I'll give you credit. You never smell.
Thanks, man.
Like, I don't understand it. You don't wear deodorant. You never smell. If I didn't wear deodorant for one day, people would smell me from across the room.
You've been around me for so many years. Have you ever thought that guy stinks?
I've never thought once that guy smells. I've thought you stink, but not in that way.
Yeah, of course. But in all those years, not one of those times when you were around your boy did my pH balance have deodorant mixed in with it.
No, that's impressive. Now, what brought that about? Was that just being broke in your 20s?
Honestly, the last time I wore deodorant, it was secret. It was my sister's in a pink bottle. And what brought it upon, and I'm going to say this, and you can call me a hippie. You can say whatever you want, people. I don't care. I'm like Steph Curry. I'm wet when it comes to stinking. I don't. When I lived in New York, I had a major sweating problem. I don't know where it came from. I just would always be sweating. I stopped one day wearing deodorant, and I never sweat again. You know what it is? Illuminati scam.
How does that make sense? So you're saying that the scam in the system is the deodorant creates more sweat.
My body said, stop it. I did. My body said, I'll take care of you because, hello, what an organism we're working with here. It adjusted itself, and I never sweat again, and I stopped using deodorant. Those are facts.
You're scamming the system in a lot of ways right now. Because I think society has created – because, by the way, deodorant is expensive. My deodorant's like $8 a pop every time I go in there, and I use a lot of it to make sure I don't smell bad. So just think about the money you've saved on deodorant over the years.
Yeah, that'll do it. Just keep caking on deodorant. That'll make you smell better. See, that's the problem. You bought into it.
All right, well, then it's time. I am going cold turkey. There's no more deodorant. I apologize to everyone around me, but at some point, maybe my body decides to be efficient at something and makes me stop smelling.
Steph's got 45 with 3:36 to play. It's tied up at 93. 45 points, 7 boards, 7 assists, 5 steals. He might get a quadruple double.
He just got an assist. I just watched him pass it, I think, to Moody for a 3. It's 96-93.
888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. Quite an April for. By the way, none of this is April Fools. Zippy underwear, zippy deodorant. I don't do April Fools.
Do you know how hard it was for me to not do my normal April Fools, which is I tweet out a picture of an engaged hand? And then remember last year, a bunch of people, you did not like that a bunch of people were congratulating me on the air, and it was awkward. I had to inform them that it wasn't real.
Well, because it's embarrassing. It's childish, and people were genuinely congratulating you, and you had to tell nice people that it's stupid shtick. It made me feel uncomfortable.
One of those people who replied to that post a year ago, the person I'm currently dating. You know what she said? Because I hollered in her DMs on April 1st. She said, "Excuse me, didn't you just literally post that you were engaged earlier today?" And I made her check the calendar.
And a year later, she bought you underwear.
And she's buying me underwear now. Who wins? I won.
She doesn't.
No,
the Tigers jumped the Giants jumped all over Gilbert. They're up 2-0 at the top of the first with the runner on second. Let's go. The Cats are awake.
They're the team. They're the team of the summer. That's the team everyone's going to want to buy in on.
The Steph watch continues here. When we come back, we'll update you on his numbers. Right now, 45 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals, 2:36 to play in the third, and it's a 3-point game, so he's going to play the fourth quarter.
They're just trading threes at this point. 99-96 now, just back and forth, 3-3, and there's a timeout on the floor because I think a foul. But Golden State has the ball, 2:18 to go in the third. He's going to hit 60. He's hitting 60.
Will he catch Klay Thompson? He's got 11 threes, 14 is the record. We're back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. wrap up today's show. You see what I did there? Yeah. By finishing all of the conversations we touched on today. This is Closing Tabs.
Okay, so a historic night bubbling tonight. I mean, it's a busy night in sports, but Steph Curry just sat the last 2 minutes of the third. That means he's going to play the fourth, obviously. Golden State leads Memphis 103-101 with 58 seconds to play. Steph is going to sit the final minute, obviously, because Steph Curry, through three, has 45 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 steals. He's 11 of 15 from three. The record for three-pointers made regular season is 14. He's going to get there. He's on a heater. He's going to play the whole fourth. This is incredible. It's tied up at 103-103. Golden State, Memphis, 22 seconds to play in the third.
I just want chaos. I want overtime. I want him to go nuts in the fourth. I want overtime. I want to see how many he could get. This is absurd. The thing that jumps out to me is the other stats as well. 7 boards, 8 assists, 5 steals and a block. He's contributing everywhere. You know who's not? Every time I look up, Buddy Hield is missing another shot. That guy hasn't seen a shot on the floor he doesn't think he can make that he can't hit. 1 of 6 beyond the arc tonight, 3 points.
I just as a being persnickety, why do you keep on saying you want overtime? Why don't we want him to set all these records in regulation so there's no stipulation?
I want him to score like 85. I don't know what he's capable of. I want as many points as possible. We won't remember that it went to overtime if he has an absurd number tonight.
Yeah, but people always say addendum. That was an overtime. I want him to go off. So people shut up about this guy because they love to knock him. And what is he? 37 years old, and he's going to score 60 in a game and go over 14 three-pointers made, potentially with a quadruple double. It's insanity.
He's there. If he drops 60 with a triple double, that's an all-time stat line. Like that's all-time great.
Well, I mean, his game obviously one of the great performances in a single game of all time. It's not even a question. All right, let's close tabs before we get out of here.
All right, you mentioned I wasn't old enough to remember Larry Brown, so I asked AI. That's what we do in this show. I don't actually do the work. I asked the computer to tell me why was Larry Brown successful as a coach. And they said his ability to transform struggling teams into contenders, his focus on developing players, and his intense, detail-oriented approach leading to championships at both the collegiate and professional levels.
That is all factual. Greatest basketball coach. Now, he's got issues, but Larry Brown easily can be in the conversation for greatest coach of all time. Don't at me.
Well, in the conversation for not greatest owners of all time, that would be Mike Ilitch Jr., the current owner of the Detroit Tigers. You were complaining about him not spending money, and I just happened to look because he does come from the family that started Little Caesars. Maybe if you charge more than $5.50 for a hot ready pizza at Little Caesars, you could pay Tarek Skubal the money he deserves.
Yeah, pizza. That's what the little munchkin says, and that's the thing. That's the hook on Little Caesars. It's cheap, but so is Illich's son, who's getting a divorce. So maybe he's trying to hold on to that cash.
You know what? That's fair. Mike Randall was on the program earlier. He said the phrase, quote, "respect all, fear none." I was ready for that to be like a Mike Tyson or a Bruce Lee quote. You know who said that? Bum Phillips. That's who said that. Respect all, fear none.
I thought you were going to say like Mayu Angelou.
Yeah, or Gandhi or something like that. That's what I thought. I did finally Google, in terms of percentage of the population, states that have the most people that identify as white. The top are Vermont, New Hampshire, Iowa, Wyoming, and Maine. So it is indeed one of the 5 whitest states in the union.
Wyoming was a sleeper.
I'll tell you this, though. Montana not being there, didn't expect that.
That's true. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it all for $1.58 right now. Naya, thank you. Ryan, thank you. Big Guy, thank you. Samich, thank you. Stewart, thank you. And Mike Randall, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.